Hello, listening people.
Hello.
You're listening to Spin Polish Presents Unappreciated Masterpieces. I am one of your hosts, Ryan Sliwinski.
And I am Podcaster X, but little does Ryan know that I'm his regular co-host Bartek.
Oh, not my brother in disguise. Bartek, we're Spin...
How'd you know?
Oh my god. You're not wearing your mask.
Oh, shit.
You fucking idiot. Bartek, we are Spin Polish. Why is that?
Likingly, because we are always spitting, and we both...
Wow.
And we both happen to be Polish. Isn't that right, Ryan?
That is correct, Bartek.
No, you mean... Oh, wait, no mask. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, Bartek, we're doing a show Unappreciated Masterpieces, the show in which we shine a light on movies that have been hidden in the darkness, in the crevices of society. We are like the Knights of Templar, doing a holy service upon the general masses to find the holy remnants of society's ills of not appreciating movies that we think deserve more conversation, more love, more, dare I say it, appreciation. Exactly
That's
right.
appropriate considering that the adjective we have in the name is unappreciated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or under, according to Bartek in several episodes.
Yeah.
But Bartek, I need to know what the movie is. I am completely unaware. We've already made references to it, but
you being unaware.
To me being unaware. I haven't seen the title of the episode, so I don't know what the episode is. So what movie are we covering?
Dzisiaj, Ryan, my oglądamy film Speed Racer.
Okay, I understood Ryan in there. Are we watching Saving Private Ryan by any chance?
No.
The movie that lost to Shakespeare in Love, one of the worst films ever made.
And therefore unappreciated.
Yeah, even the disembodied voice made a snooze sound or an oink sound. I couldn't tell. Bartek, what are we watching? What does all of that Polish that you spoke translate into? Because even though I am Polish, I don't speak the language. I don't. It's a surprise.
Now that you mention it,
it's a twist.
There were a few episodes where you did mention that you haven't been able to speak Polish.
Like a couple.
Yeah.
Couple.
Not as many as me
Just a
calling the
few.
show underappreciated masterpieces, but
Not
there
as
have been
many
a
as
few.
that.
Yeah.
Just a few times.
Ryan, what I said translates to today we are going to watch the film Speed Racer.
Speed Racer? Oh my god, I love Speed Racer. You mean Go, Speed Racer, Go? I love
Those are lyrics.
I love Speed Racer. I'm eating it up right now. The Wachowski Speed Racer?
From 2008.
The 2008?
The one, the only.
The one and the only 2008?
Well, the AD type, not the BC.
Not the BC type?
Yeah.
What about the BCE type, which is the correct terminology now?
That's right, and I can't remember what AD has become.
ADE.
I think it was like ACE or AD.
Is it ACDC?
I can't remember.
Bartek,
I know BC's before Common Era.
before we get into the deep...
Common Era.
Oh, I was raised Catholic, so we were told it was before Christ.
Well, BCE was only like introduced last decade.
And
towards the
AD
end, I
was
think.
after death.
No, it's Anno Domini. Or
No,
something
we
like
were
that.
taught via our Catholic school teacher. Well, when I did mass at my school, in my public school, we had mass, and
That
we
was
had our
them-
teacher be like, "It's after death, kiddies.
That
'cause
was
Jesus
them-
is what we determine society by."
That was them basically telling you that babies come from storks.
No, but Bartek, we do have a baby that came from a stork.
Oh.
Yeah, they're coming on as a guest. We are joined by the boss baby himself.
What?
Because the movie Storks and Boss Baby are in the same universe, according to some people online.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Rhys Mckenzie.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Brother of Barry Mckenzie.
Well, I had a dog named Barry Mckenzie, and I sort of considered him.
Son of Doug Mckenzie.
Now, just on your comment on the Knights...
Father of Billy Mckenzie.
Oh, you're a dad.
So, on the Knights of Templar comment, Ryan,
We're not allowed to talk about them. They're
Why
a
not?
secret society.
I see
We briefly mentioned it because we're Catholics. We can, but you're not, so you can't.
I am Catholic.
Shut up.
But I see on the far end of the table, Bartek as the King Arthur. And then to Ryan, we have Sir Lancelot.
Was the Arthurian legends? They're part of the Knights of the Templar mythology, right?
But the
I don't
thing
think-
is, you
I
get
don't think.
I don't know too much about the temple.
you get to me, and I sort of bring a Don Quixote sort of vibe.
Oh,
to the...
My
completely
favourite Knight of
different
the Round
legend.
Table.
Yes.
You are more of a Friar Tuck figure.
I'm more of a, Sancho Panza.
So-
You're more of a Mordred.
Before we delve into the Knights of the
gonna
Templar
kill each other?
mythology
Oh,
and
but-
Don Quixote and all of that,
Don Quixote's much better.
I mean, Terry Gilliam tried so hard to make it.
What
a
does
movie.
all this have to do with Speed Racer?
That's what I'm going to. We have to be like Speed Racer and speed, do a bunch of
Go,
speed.
go, go.
Go, go, go.
Do the drug speed while you watch this movie. You're going to have a fucking fun time because you people at home need to grab a copy of the movie Speed Racer by the Wachowskis. Get a copy of it. Shove it into wherever you can shove things into.
Oh, don't
Put
do...
it on.
Yeah.
Press the play button. When I say play, I'm going to do a countdown from 3. Get ready, because I'm going to go from 3 down to 1. I'm going to say play. You're going to press play. We're going to be lined up. So get ready, because I'm going to start this in 3, 2, 1, play.
Oh, tension over.
Speed Racer, go Speed Racer.
I did like this
So-
opening sort of like nice little kaleidoscope deal.
My fiance, whom I watched this with, Rachel, said, "Why is this happening?" And I said, "Oh, honey, you're not prepared for the visuals that are going to be striking you throughout this movie." And guess what? She wasn't. Nor was humanity in 2008. 2008, the year this film came out. Guys, what were we doing in 2008? Did we see this movie in the cinema?
No, we saw Iron Man instead.
Oh, interesting choice. But what about Speed Racer? Did you go see Speed Racer?
Nay.
Why?
What, nay?
Yeah, why nay?
Why nay?
You're the Knights of Ni.
No, I'm the Don Quixote. I'm on a horse, and
Oh, we get it. We get it.
I
You
battle
were-
the windmills because I think they're giants.
Of course. Gulliver and Gulliver's Travel. Yeah, we get it.
Hey, I'm Jack Black. That's cool.
Well,
Anyway,
that
the
was
reason
2007.
What?
That was 2007.
Ooh, you got taught.
Oh.
You got taken to school. Bartek, I imagine you saw this in the cinema. You're a big fan of, Western interpretations of Japanese products. You love them. I know you. You're like constantly like, Ryan, I need to go see this movie. Did you see this movie?
I hadn't seen it until yesterday.
Wow. So you were not expecting random New Zealand actresses and actors to turn up in it?
No, I wasn't expecting any sort of.
I didn't even know there were
randomness.
random ones.
I mean, this one's in it. She spoke with a thick New Zealand accent. Did you not notice?
No.
Did you not notice the little Maori boy that was going to beat him up and said, like, "I'm going to beat you up, bro," and
No.
all that? No, you didn't notice that? Did you not notice the Australian actor?
Yeah, I noticed him. He had a very,
Oh, did he?
very thick accent.
And of course it makes sense, because this is done by the Wachowskis, who are very much pro working with Australian and New Zealand. I mean, the Matrix films were filmed down in Australia. Let's
Yeah.
not forget that. I mean, not Guy Pearce, Hugo Weaving, Australian,
Oh, yeah.
the chick that could bend spoons with her mind was Aboriginal, I'm pretty sure. So.
Okay.
I hate The Matrix. We've talked about this in previous episodes. We'll get into it in this episode because this is a movie I had not seen before doing this show. Bartek suggested it. He was like, "Hey, Ryan, let's do Speed Racer." And I said, "Sure, I'm aware of this movie's visual legacy." I remember that the thing about this movie is it was one of those, it's an adaptation of a cartoon, a Japanese cartoon, a Japanimation as they used to be called. One of the first ones to be, kind of brought over to the West. First it was Astro Boy, and then I think this was the third or fourth big one that came along, Speed Racer.
Yeah, I can't remember when Dragon Ball Evolution was.
Broly, Dragon Ball Broly. Look, this movie has a legacy of being visually striking, and you can see it right here. Oh boy.
This put me off guard.
Did it?
It really did put me off guard. It's just like, oh wow, this is like Robert Rodriguez all over again.
It put me off guard because I convinced myself that Rex here, the older brother, I was like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? I didn't look up till later, and he's not in anything I actually know. But I convinced my brain, oh, that's Chris O'Donnell from Batman and Robin. Of course it is. And then I
Really?
just checked it off in my list. Have you seen Chris O'Donnell in any films
Yeah.
outside of that? Like, have you seen him recently? This is kind of what he looks like. We saw him in Max Payne, and he kind of looked like this.
But like, there's a lot of
What are you on about, Rhys?
I saw him in Vertical Limit, and he looked nothing like that.
He looks like... When was Vertical Limit?
2000.
Oh, dude, you haven't seen him recently. Like, we saw him in Max Payne, which came out, what was that, like 2009? 2010?
Like the same year as, like, nearly the
Speed
same.
Racer.
I can't quite remember.
It was around that time. And Chris O'Donnell's kind of pudged out a bit and kind of just looks more like a dude. Like, this guy looks like a dude. He looks like a bit of a buff dude, but not too buff. And I just thought, it's Chris O'Donnell, but then it wasn't. So that's the point I'm trying to make. This here, just wanted to point this out, I recently saw, talk about Robert Rodriguez, Alita Battle Angel.
Yes.
Another big, iconic Japanese product. And this is very reminiscent of that, or that is very reminiscent of this. Yeah. They have their tracks for Moto Ball, or Motor Ball, they pronounce it both ways. And it looks very similar to this. So I'm just saying, Robert Rodriguez, stop stealing off the Wachowskis, okay? Because the Wachowskis, as inspirational as they are, I'm surprised that people even dare to steal ideas from their movies visually. I'm shocked at the idea that some people have said to me, Ryan, after The Matrix, there were a bunch of copycats of The Matrix with quick time events and bullet speed and whatnot. And I said, no, you're lying there. No one would ever put in their comedy movie a homage to that, especially Kung Pao with a cow. No one would do that.
By the way, it's bullet time.
I said bullet speed quick event.
You said quick time event.
I'm right, though.
That's a video game thing.
They do it in movies. You know that they do.
The literal term for what they did in The Matrix is bullet... Wait, what is it again?
Bullet
time,
speed
right?
event.
Bullet time? Bullet time?
I think it's bullet time.
Bullet
It's
time.
called bad visual effect that still doesn't hold up to this day. Just saying it. I'm just saying it. Just saying the truth, people. You don't want to admit it, but I'm right.
Praise
so
Jesus.
you're not appreciating the Wachowskis.
I have not been a fan of any of their movies.
Until now, yeah.
Well, until now, of course. And until when we do Jupiter Ascending.
Oh, you haven't done that yet?
No, have you?
Got you there, Rhys.
Yeah, owned.
Oh dear.
Owned him good. So, Speed Racer.
Have we asked Rhys his history?
He
of
said
this?
he hadn't seen it.
I had not seen this movie. I've seen glimpses of it, and I didn't know it was this, like, attacking with visuals, basically.
Did it make you feel good?
Did it make me feel good?
Visually. Like, when you closed your eyes at night, did you see colors swirling around and you're like, that's a good thing?
I was dizzy from, like, the amount of,
From
like...
joy, right?
Yes, from joy.
So, Bartek, you suggested this. Tell us why. What about this movie made you go, this is an unappreciated masterpiece that needs to be covered?
It's one that I'd heard of at the time, but I didn't look much into it when it came out, and even in years passing that. I assumed, like, oh, it's probably got the same reputation that, like, I hear people complain about Dragon Ball Evolution having. Because even though I didn't... when I was really young, possibly back in the English is not my primary language phase, I did see some episodes of the show, and I vaguely remembered it. I more remembered the music.
Of Speed Racer?
Yeah.
No.
And I remember seeing more of, Dragon Ball Z, on TV, and it's definitely a thing that our generation is more familiar with. And people all complained about Dragon Ball Evolution because it
ruined everything.
I mean, it does suck, though.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either, but I've heard that reputation. I just assumed that, like, I maybe this film would be like that, but without the nostalgia factor, so maybe it wouldn't appeal to me. But then a few years later, I discovered the YouTube channel Game Grumps.
Yeah. This is in their trivia
the
for the
trivia,
fucking
yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
that a YouTube channel that is moderately popular, one of them claims this as his favorite movie, right?
Yeah, and I actually remember when I was actually watching them, they had the conversation. They were talking about films. This was back when JonTron was the host. And they were talking about films, and JonTron was talking about how, I really like, I think he said Lord of the Rings trilogy was his favorite films.
Twist.
And his co-host, Aaron, aka Ego Raptor, was talking about how, I've never seen them. My favorite film used to be, his favorite film was Breakfast Club, but then Speed Racer came along and replaced that.
Take that, Breakfast Club.
Yeah. And John was basically attacking him, like, no, make it Breakfast Club again, things like that. And that that was a real thing, yeah. And it just stuck out to me like, oh, it's weird. This film that I basically dismissed, someone really loves it, and then I read up that it's got sort of a cult following. Like there are people that really enjoy this. So I thought to myself, yeah, for the past however many years since I've heard that conversation, in the back of my head, I have to see this at some point. And then we started the podcast, and I thought, oh, well, here's a reason to watch it. And it's been a few years into the podcast, but we've finally gotten around to it.
Hooray.
Yay.
This scene particularly pissed you off, didn't it, Ryan?
No, it thrilled me. I loved this scene. Mixture of Australian, New Zealand, and American actresses. This young girl playing young Trixie is Ariel Winter, who's in Modern Family.
Ah, yes.
She's the girl that is the daughter, the middle-aged child in the family of Ty Burrell's character.
Ah, yes.
The one who got in controversy in real life because her parents scammed her financially, and people are like, it's your fault, you small child, and people are so cruel. And the other time of she had like naturally like really large breasts and then got a breast reduction, and people were like slamming her for that, and it's just like because people are gross.
She's a child.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, no, I think she's now an adult because this movie's like 10 years ago. But like,
I thought you were talking about the time of Speed Racer.
Yeah, no, when she was on Modern Family.
Yes.
But yeah, people are cruel. She's in this, then she evolves into not Rose McGowan, which was a shock to me. Like, for half of this movie, I thought adult Trixie was played by Rose McGowan, who is a well-known actress. We all know Rose McGowan from many products.
You thought it was Rose McGowan, not
And
Christina.
it was Christina Ricci,
Yeah.
who, it was shocked me. I was like, no way is that Christina Ricci. And then it was. And I you know what? Here's my belief. I think halfway through the film, Rose McGowan dropped out and they just quietly replaced her with Christina Ricci. And I think when you watch the first half, it's clearly Rose McGowan, and then the second half, it's clearly Christina Ricci. I think that's what's happened here.
I thought it was just that you're wrong.
No, I'm right all the time.
Oh, okay.
You're wrong.
Oh, I didn't
Wrong.
say anything, though.
Copy paste. See, clearly Rose McGowan right there. I mean, night and day. Night and day.
Yeah.
It's not Wednesday Addams all grown up.
Aww.
Why do you go, oh?
Well, it would have been nice, Wednesday, grew out of her Addams family phase, and then she moved on to Speedy.
Look at these nice transitions.
Look at this beautiful transitions.
This movie has a lot of transitions. It's so...
I wonder if there's a tasteful reviewer out there that mentions the transitions in their online reviews. I hope that they do.
Funnily enough, I couldn't find any YouTube comment bringing it up, and of the IMDb reviews that I did read, I don't think anyone ever talked about editing in this film.
Okay.
I think they just...
I feel like there's like an...
Interesting. Were they the Academy? They just didn't nominate this for editing, and they decided in their IMDb reviews for it they won't mention the editing as well.
Maybe the editing in this is like a elephant in the room or something worthy of a documentary. Like, why doesn't anyone talk about this?
You know what it is. It's like when you meet someone who's got like an amputated limb, and you really want to know how they lost it, but you can't ask straight away. You have to like earn like a rapport and a relationship, and maybe they'll bring it up, and if they never do, then you have to live without knowing
like,
how they lost that hand.
Have you ever wondered why I have no limb? And it's like, now you mention it, yeah.
No. You know what? Now that you mention it, I am wondering why you've got a peg leg.
A peg leg, just...
When I was a boy. When I was a wee boy, I watched Speed Racer.
I only drank dry rum, now I just drink water.
He's pyro and weird.
What?
I don't know what that was.
That's a pirate, isn't it?
Say it again.
I drink dry rum.
Jamaican pirate.
It wasn't Jamaican.
I think he
Hey,
was.
there could have been Jamaican pirates.
There are in real life. I mean, there's Ethiopian pirates. I mean, what are you on about?
I didn't hear it as Jamaican. I just heard it like a half-hearted pirate.
There be rum, bro.
There be rum.
He watched our episode of Shark Tale and got inspired by Ziggy Marley. Yeah. This movie is super fun, super energetic. This movie's based on the classic Japanimation, which has a very simple premise: Speed Racer must go. Go Speed Racer. Like, that's basically what the show's about. This is what this is
Although,
about.
if you look at the Japanese title, it's telling the car to go.
Well, is the car
not
Speed
the driver.
Racer? The
No.
car's the Mach 5.
Yeah.
5, right?
The
4?
Mach go. 'Cause
Oh,
in
it's not
Japanese-
even a number?
Well, in Japanese, 5 is go.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, so
oh,
it's-
it's not
it's a
the
multiple
phrase
meaning.
go. No, look at this New Zealand boy he's fighting. Poor Rhys, he was just like, everyone's American in this, right?
I didn't say that.
Even the British guy? You know which British guy I'm talking about, right? The British...
John Goodman.
The villain dude.
British man?
The villain dude.
Royalton? His name's Royalton.
Was it Royston?
Royalton.
It's Royalton.
It's got the word royal in it.
It's
so
got the-
it sounds
alright.
extra rich.
Oh, great transition.
Another transition.
I mean, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Shaft is in this.
Who?
Shaft. The Shaft.
Richard Roundtree.
Yeah.
It's not Richard Roundtree.
As whom?
It's another actor named Robert.
As what character?
Oh, wait, I have
Ben
Wikipedia.
Burns.
As Ben Burns. I thought it was Shaft.
No, it's not Shaft.
You're lying. It's
I'm
clearly
not. I'm
Shaft.
not lying. It is not Shaft.
You don't say it's Shaft. You gotta say it's Shaft.
It is not Shaft.
I think he's in Shaft. Shaft.
He's not in Shaft.
You're a liar. He is.
I'm not lying.
You then Google it. You're a liar.
All
You're a
right. Would you
fucking liar.
like me to Google it?
He's in Shaft.
All right.
I'm telling you, he's in Shaft.
I have
Maybe he's in the Samuel L. Jackson.
Currently turning on my phone to look this up.
I'm right and you're wrong, and you know
Oh,
I
right.
have the Wikipedia page. Let me just get
it. He's
it up.
Ben Burns, which I find very interesting because they use the phrase "All right, Mr. Burns" very early on in the movie before we know who Ben Burns is, and I went, "Oh, is The Simpsons something that exists in this universe?"
Sorry, what names am I looking for?
He is
So-
the character of Ben Burns, and he is
so-
Shaft.
Richard Roundtree.
Thank you.
Oh shit.
Say sorry, Ryan, but say it in the Shaft voice.
Wait, like the high pitched.
Your natural voice, then.
It's not my natural voice.
No,
though.
the voice when you're exasperated, like your what voice?
Oh, that voice. All right.
Say sorry, Ryan.
I need a beatbox beat like.
Sorry, Ryan.
You're damn right.
So we've had a few cast members of Shaft appear. Not cast members, just crew and
No, I was
cast.
doing Sylvester Stallone.
I thought it was another actor.
No, I'm Ryan. You're wrong. You're just racist.
Wait, you said-
saw one
did-
black
did-
guy,
did-
and you're
did you
like,
just
it's
say-
not Shaft.
You said you're Ryan,
No,
and
I said I'm right and you're wrong.
I thought you said you're Ryan and I'm wrong.
That's also a fact.
Well, they both begin with R.
And they're both right.
That also begins with R.
Yeah, so Shaft is in this. We haven't seen a Shaft person since Isaac Hayes, I'm pretty sure.
Ah, Soulman.
Oh, yeah.
You could see new Shaft as there's a new movie coming out this year.
A sequel to the original Sam Jackson remake.
Yes.
Boo.
Boo.
A Medea Halloween.
So
Bartek, did you love that we had so many recurring actors from movies back in this movie? Like, what's his name? Stritzel?
Who?
Schnitzel?
The kid?
Schnitzel?
Spritle.
Spritle.
He looks familiar. What was he in?
Jersey Girl.
Jersey Girl.
He was a little boy that
Oh,
showed his penis.
Right. That is right. He did look familiar.
How did you not realize? Did you not see this little boy and went, I've seen the back of his junk in Jersey Girl?
Well, I was looking at
In
his...
context, Rhys.
Well, this is me, right? The pervert that I am. I was looking at his face.
He's got a recognizable face, though.
That's why it was familiar to me, but I just didn't put it together where he was in.
We've got our homegirl, Susan Sarandon. She's back.
Yes.
Haven't seen her since
Witches.
The Witches of Eastwick.
Your favorite movie?
One of my favorite movies ever made.
She had red hair.
Yes, she did. She kind of has it here too.
Kinda.
It's gingery brunette.
It's been a really long time
It's
since we've
toffee.
seen John Goodman.
It's toffee.
Yeah, it's been super long time since we've seen John Goodman.
A whole
like,
couple of episodes.
a whole couple of episodes.
What was the last
about
one?
Red Down.
Red State? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're right. It was Red State. My mistake.
What did you say? Red Down?
Yeah.
Did you mean that? Did you legitimately, or was this a joke?
I was thinking of, what was that thing? Red Dawn?
Red Dawn?
I was pulling a title out of my
Oh.
head.
I like he was thinking pulling a title, but he also pulled not only the incorrect title of what the actual movie Red State was, but also the incorrect title of the incorrect title, he thought.
Yeah, well, the incorrect pronunciation was the joke, but the wrong title was genuine.
that was a joke.
Well, because Dawn is
this whole thing was a very nuanced thing.
It's
that
DAWN, so I was pronouncing all the letters. The own.
Of course, we get good old. We get a monkey. We get a chimp.
Mm-hmm.
Chim.
Yeah.
I mean, when was the last time we had a chim?
That's
right.
We've definitely had monkeys on before.
We've got Rhys right here.
Well, not in the film.
I heard that.
He heard it.
Shit, right?
He heard it.
He heard the thing that you wanted him to hear.
Let's give it up for our homeboy, Royalton here, my favorite character in the movie. I know it's not a shock. You're all surprised. I hear the gasps of admiration for my choice.
I thought you were going to go for a character that's in the background.
Oh, you mean Shaft?
Probably Shaft, yeah.
Yeah. We all know this guy. He's one of those British character actors that's in everything. Like he's in Game of Thrones.
His voice in this movie sounds like...
He was in V for Vendetta.
Oh yeah, he played
the news reporter.
The news reporter, yeah.
The guy who wasn't Stephen Fry. Like I always thought in my brain he was Stephen Fry. Roger Allam, I'm pretty sure his name is.
Yeah, I think it's pronounced Alum.
Alum? Okay.
I can't remember. On the Wikipedia cast list, he's fairly low down.
Yeah, he didn't even have a cast poster.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's the villain.
Yeah.
He's great. I know him from an audio drama show called Cabin Pressure, which has Benedict Cumberbatch in it, where they play like these third-rate independent airline, and he's like the co-pilot, and he's got this rich voice, and he plays Douglas, and he's all like, he's got animosity because he used to be like a proper pilot in a proper airline, but then he got kicked off because he's notoriously bad. Like he's just like, well, he's a dickhead. Like he plays these weird little games. Like how many Alfred Hitchcock titles can I jam into the safety announcements and stuff like that?
You're talking the actor or the character?
The character,
right?
And they're basically the same. Like, how sometimes you see some characters and they're basically what the actor's like. Yeah, like when you see him in interviews, he's just Douglas.
That's
like
very short-sighted.
He's very like, and he's very snobby. And one of the greatest episodes of Cabin Pressure ever is in the show. The airline owner is a woman, an older woman, and she has a new boyfriend called Hirsch, short for Hercules. He's played by one of my favorite actors, Anthony Stewart Head, who I think we've had on in an episode.
That sounds
of the
very
podcast.
familiar.
Yeah.
He's in Buffy.
Was he in Repo?
He is in Repo, the genetic opera, and he's one of those guys who's also got an amazing British voice. Like he's far more, hello there, I'm got a sharp. And there's an episode in which in Cabin Pressure they have to make a radio ad for the airline, and they're having to decide who should voice it. This guy in Speed Racer or Anthony Stewart Head, and for a solid 5 minutes they have a voice off. They just voice off against each other, and it's genuinely one of the hardest decisions I've ever seen in an episode of anything ever. Like, when you see in shows or movies when characters have to make a decision, and you yourself go, well, it's obviously going to be this decision, or obviously I would make this decision. You as an audience member go, far out, I just don't know. I mean... He's got Roger, he's got a more deep baritone voice, and he's got more of that British, raw, I'm an adventurer type. But then Anthony Stewart Head's voice is kind of crisp and sexy, and it's like, oh, which one would you... But both of them have voices that you just want to fuck, is what I'm saying. And he uses his voice in this so well. All of his lines are perfect.
Especially when he turns to villain in this movie. Like, he becomes more like...
Yeah. Sign the contract!
I especially like him in this breakfast scene.
Yeah, when he's trying to be a good person and he's just failing immensely.
He's so emotional about pancakes.
Now look at this city. It's just a lot to take in.
Now, Bartek, what do you think stopped you from seeing this in 2008? Like, this is a big movie. The Wachowskis are huge.
Well, I think the problem with that question is that I've sort of explained it, but I guess it doesn't explain why I didn't see it from 2012 onwards when it was brought into my attention.
I just can't understand. You of all people, I could see you just rushing out to this movie with candy in your pockets, holding your friend's hands as you skip into the cinema.
Like, slow down, man, slow down. It's like, no, we got to see Speed Racer.
Front row seats.
Maybe I was waiting for it to re-enter cinemas. Maybe I was hoping the Astor would do it, and I just never checked.
And they double feature it with, like,
having to
Ghost
see this,
in the Shell.
Having to see this at the Astor, I think it might break the screen.
No, Schindler's List.
No, yeah. You choose a black and white movie, and then you choose this. Double feature it with Sin City, and then it'll work.
No, it'll collapse the screen if you, like, play, like,
The Astor Theatre's cat will just like jump on the screen.
Yeah,
it will die. It will die. Like all eight of its remaining 9 lives will just perish. It will have 1 life left, and then once you play the next Wachowski movie after, it will just die, and then its ghost will be like in pain, screaming for all eternity. So there you go. Funny fact about this movie: it came out in 2008. We've mentioned this a lot.
Yes.
Weird thing. Came out 2 months before The Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, The Dark Knight's the thing we still talk about. I mean, this film's very... to get artsy on you all, this film's very similar to the Dark Knight trilogy as a whole, if I could get down and dirty with you. Because, you see, Christopher Nolan, the intense filmmaker that we all know him for, utilizes music in his movie to tell the audience what to feel and what to think, as does the Wachowskis in this particular movie. Very similar feels of how they utilize music. They are both adaptations of well-loved properties. I mean, the Batman franchise has been made into several movies, and see, the Dark Knight trilogy was very unique and daring, like this movie, because people had an idea of what Batman could have been as a movie. You either think of the for better or for worse, Adam West style goofiness that you got from Batman and Robin and the Adam West stuff, the Joel Schumacher stuff, or you got that kind of grimy, kind of surrealistic look of Batman from the Tim Burton things. So when Christopher Nolan, you see, brought it to a real world standard, that was a daring move, because people were like, whoa, I don't want to see my Joker with just, like, makeup on. I want to see him with a full clown face. And that was daring. And see, Speed Racer is daring because of, the Wachowskis are known for their visuals. Isn't that right, Rhys?
Correct. And
the Matrix movies, for better or for worse, have very grounded visuals in comparison to this. Like, the transitions, the editing, which we've mentioned, the cinematography is far more traditional. While it's more the visual effects that are kind of the more standout thing visually in the Matrix movies, correct?
Correct.
While then the Wachowskis, this is their follow-up to the Matrix trilogy. This is the one that they do after.
Right.
They choose to visually do this, in which it's pretty much the most literal translation of a Japanimation cartoon that one could put to live action.
I've heard from many YouTube comments that this is one of the most faithful to the original.
And that's why this movie is as daring, if not more so, than The Dark Knight.
It's daring, all right, damn.
And more so than The Dark Knight. I think The Dark Knight pales in comparison to Speed Racer.
Well, you know what Dark Knight was missing that this one was not missing the equivalent of?
Susan Sarandon?
Dark Knight was missing Batman.
That is true. It needed a really punchy, poppy song.
Whereas
this one had Speed Racer, like 15 different versions of it.
Yeah, like the original soundtrack of this film has the original tune all over it.
It's like it's an infection, this movie.
And which led, obviously, in the credits, the music, the obvious place to go would be to, like, remix that.
Yeah, and the weakness of the Dark Knight trilogy as a whole, in comparison to this singular movie, is... This singular movie is satisfying all the way through, while the Dark Knight trilogy, as a trilogy, isn't satisfying all the way through. There's a one standout movie in the trilogy, you see. And that's clearly The Dark Knight, which came out the same year as this. But is The Dark Knight's merits as an individual film better than the individual film of Speed Racer? And I'm going to say this. No, it isn't. And you want to know why?
Why?
This film has a chimp.
That is true.
That is true. It does have a chimp.
Dark Knight does not have a chimp, and they could have so
animals?
easily have a chimp.
What animals did they have in the Dark Knight?
That's a good question.
That is a good. Oh,
Do
that felt like it was on me.
Do they have animals in the Dark Knight?
I
think
they have dogs.
They have dogs because he gets attacked by dogs and they can bite through his armor, right? And then he's like, "I need new armor.
Guess they also
I need to be able to turn my neck." Well, there's a creatures more than animals. I think there's birds.
Were there any bats?
There are bats.
Like in the
There are
Bat
bats.
Cave or something?
There are, but no, it's more like he thinks about bats.
So he thinks about animals, but there isn't actual bats.
Well, no, I mean, well, here's the thing. Do we know that everyone in this movie is just thinking intensely about a chimp? And it's not actually there?
Except Spritle. Spritle doesn't see a chimp.
No, he sees Danny DeVito for what he is.
He see.
Could this movie have been improved in any way?
It's hard.
Other than putting Danny DeVito in it as Chim Chim in motion capture form or makeup.
Probably Danny DeVito doing the penguin noises as well.
Just to rub in the Dark Knight wounds.
Yeah, just to rub it in.
You know, I almost wanted to say, like, because one of the funny things about the show compared to the movie is that in the show, you were beaten over the head with Racer X's identity because of the narrator.
Of who he is or who he could be.
Basically, every episode, the narrator would tell you, and there is Racer X. Unbeknownst to Speed, it's his older brother Rex Racer who ran away as a kid.
Okay.
Or there's Racer X, Speed's brother in disguise. So it's very much beaten over the head for the viewer. Whereas in this film, it's a mystery.
Is it?
Well, it has...
Because once Speed actually meets him, he's like, that's clearly my brother. So it's not that much of a mystery, but it is because...
Well, it's a mystery in the sense that...
It's a double twist.
You have to wait for it to be, like, confirmed, and before it's confirmed, it's denied.
And then it's confirmed.
What did we think of that double twist, if I may ask?
Well, again, to go back to The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight had the double twist of not telling us who the Joker is. Right? Because in the Jack Nicholson Joker, we get to know who he is, right?
He's Jack Napier.
Yeah, exactly. And he's Jack Nicholson, basically.
Yeah, he's Jack Nicholson.
And that was a twist on a twist you're expecting to know because of the conventions of how it's done in the past. This is so much better than that. Like, you get a triple mega twist of, like, this character here betrays and all these backstabs and then the reveal of Racer X is actually not his brother but then actually is his brother because plastic surgery exists in this universe.
Nip Tuck.
Yeah, Julian McMahon's show Nip Tuck. Great reference there, Rhys.
Louis Theroux documentary on plastic surgery. There's my reference.
And me just tucking in your nipples. There you go. So,
can you do that? Like,
well, if you've got inverted nipples, they're naturally tucked in.
I'm going to give it a go.
Ryan looks at me.
Ow.
I'm just looking away from Rhys putting his nipples in himself.
It really hurt. I'll say. It really hurt.
You didn't try hard enough.
No, I did. Look. Like, fold?
No, you're trying to fold them. I said tuck.
No, it's sort of the same thing. It's like you fold it to tuck them in.
So, listening people, Rhys is trying to grab his nipple and twist it in on itself. Classic Rhys.
Well, no, isn't that how you tuck a nipple in?
You can just push it, and that's kind of tucking it in.
No, that's just pressing, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but you're tucking it in.
Again, since I do have inverted nipples, maybe I'm wrong here, but if you press it, wouldn't it, like, go in? Like a button?
It goes in, but I'm just trying to figure out how to
tucking it in, though.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, Rhys.
Yes?
Die, Rhys, die. So, guys, this movie has a lot of visual elements going on. Did we notice the truck driver here had a picture of Al Capone behind them? Because they do.
Because they just do.
Because you know what that reference is, don't you?
Al Capone.
Al Capone.
Yeah, Al Capone.
Because this movie... See, Al Capone right there.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, no, I think it's actually Edward G. Robinson, sorry, who has played Al Capone.
Or Scarface.
Yeah.
The original Scarface.
The original Scarface. That's right. So, it's references upon references! I mentioned before, I am not a big fan of any of the Wachowski movies. I've seen Bound, I've seen the Matrix movies, I've seen... there's another one I've seen of theirs. Other than this, there's another one in their catalogue I'm missing. Oh, Cloud Atlas.
Oh, yeah, Cloud Atlas.
I do not like any of those movies except for this one, obviously. What about you guys? You guys big fans of the Wachowskis? Have you seen many of their oeuvre of film, and your thoughts on them?
I know I've seen the Matrix trilogy, and I saw all three of them in a very short period of time, so not only does it all meld together and I can't remember the details, but I remember it did get pretty tiring by the end. I remember little, individual action scenes that I'm like, oh yeah, that was alright.
Like when he had to fight 15 million Hugo Weavings?
But yeah, a lot of the Hugo Weaving stuff.
It's because he's great.
Yeah.
Hugo Weaving.
And I know I've seen Cloud Atlas. I saw that in cinemas. And
Really? You saw Cloud Atlas over this in cinema?
Yeah. My stepbrother and I think we got free tickets to see it.
I thought you were going to say, we got a fine for seeing it.
No, I remember that was an interesting sit. I'm not sure if I've seen any of their other things.
You haven't seen Bound?
No, I haven't.
Wow, that's like their first movie. With Jennifer Tilly in it. And it's about lesbian criminals. Fun movie.
Oh.
I didn't like it, but it was still fun.
What about you, Rhys? What have you seen of them?
Well, I've seen the Matrix trilogy.
Loved it?
Loved it.
All three?
The first two.
Oh, why not the third one? What about that one draws the line for you?
It felt longer, but it's still...
Is it because it is longer?
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I'm misremembering, but Keanu Reeves wasn't in most of that film, right?
What?
Was he?
I think he's in all of them.
I seem to recall from that one, it was mostly like a war, and he wasn't in those scenes or something like that?
From my vague recollection of it, I think he was just on a ship most of the time.
I remember they all sucked. So that's what I remember.
I haven't seen Speed Racer till we had to do it for the podcast.
No, you're a big fan.
I have seen Cloud Atlas.
You recently watched it.
Yes, I did.
First time?
Second time.
Okay.
Third time's the lady.
Yes, and I haven't seen Jupiter Ascending as well.
Oh, you haven't seen Jupiter Ascending, dude. You haven't lived till you've seen Jupiter Ascending. That's a movie in which they're like, hey, can Channing Tatum be part man, part alien, part wolf on rocket boots? Also, can Mila Kunis be an intergalactic queen to the point in which she controls bees?
Oh, that's right. I do remember someone talking about how she controls bees.
And Eddie Redmayne, can he nearly destroy his chance of winning an Oscar? Because he
won it the year before.
He had Theory of Everything. No, he was nominated for Theory of Everything, but then it was like the Norbit effect, they call it, where Eddie Murphy was nominated, and then during the nomination, Norbit came out, and then they just said, no, you don't deserve an Oscar because of Norbit. That's a fact.
Just because of Norbit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but people are ridiculous. And Eddie Redmayne nearly Norbited his career by doing Jupiter Ascending, where he's like, I talk like this through the movie until I yell!
Can you do that throughout the rest of the podcast?
Hello, I'm Eddie Redmayne. Speak like this.
I love that. Can I try it?
No.
Damn it.
Nothing's stopping you, Rhys, except the no.
But
except for consent. Other than that, nothing's stopping you, Rhys. That's Bartek's lesson for this episode is consent. Do we need it?
Yes.
Consent, but consent?
Oh, I like what you did there. That was funny.
Another thing about casting that I wanted to talk about was they had many people that they wanted as Speed Racer. Mm-hmm. Many people, and they chose this guy, who's known for doing Speed Racer.
Yeah, I think in 2008 he was also in Milk or something like that.
He was in Milk, and he was also in another film called Into the Wild, which is probably what he's most well known for.
But is that movie most well known?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
When I looked
I've
him
never
up,
heard of it.
When I looked him up on Wikipedia,
Yeah, you haven't heard of Into the Wild?
What is it?
It is a story about a guy. It's a true story. It's
living in the wild.
He comes from a very rich family, and he decides that he doesn't want that life. He wants to live in...
His name is Emile Hirsch.
Emile Hirsch.
Oh, the actor, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's what he's most well known for, I think.
When I looked him up on Wikipedia yesterday, like, it had the list of his stuff, and you know how it has extra notes. There were a lot of, like, nominations for that film.
Well, he's going to be in the next Tarantino movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He looks like Ansel Elgort, Not Ansel Elgort. No.
Really?
Which one's Ansel Elgort? No. The one who played Han Solo, is that Ansel Elgort?
No, that's Alden Ehrenreich.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Reich or Rick?
Rick? He looks like him.
He looks like Rick.
Yeah, he looks like Alden Ehrenreich.
Aaron.
Sounds German.
It is.
I think he's Jewish.
He is Jewish.
He might be German as well.
Germanish.
I mean, Alden?
Jewish.
He looks like him, but like from 10 years ago.
They do look like brothers, I'm not going to lie.
You're not going to lie? Good. I don't like liars.
But I did lie before.
What, Emile, Hirsch, and Chim Chim?
No, they're not liars. They're truthers.
No, I was talking about brothers.
They're flat earth truthers.
Yes, flat earthers. They exist.
Bartek, how thrilled were you that this movie had a chimp?
I was very happy because I do remember Chim Chim from the show, and I was wondering, were they going to have Chim Chim?
Was he going to be a real monkey or like
CGI?
Or 2D animated cartoon?
Yeah.
Let's not forget.
And they used 2 monkeys.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think this wasn't in the IMDb trivia, but I did find out at the time that one of the chimps did attack a crew member.
Oh. That would have caused some trouble.
I mean, trouble for the chimp, but that's about it.
Now, was it by the chimp's own instinct, or did Spritel's actor put him up to it?
Oh, that's a good question. We'll have to ask Spritel's actor,
I'll look up.
whom I know is listening to the show. We don't need.
Hello, Spritel.
Hello, Spritel. Speed! Sorry, I had to say it like he did. Royalton. Speed!
The actor's name is Paulie...
Sure?
Paulie Lit, with 2 T's.
Poorly lit.
He's fully lit. He must be absorbing that last
Lit with
name
a double
right
T,
now.
yeah.
He must be popular amongst the youngsters today.
So, this movie has a chimp. I was excited. Who was your favourite character, Bartek? I already said mine, which was Royalton here, which I'm not ashamed about. He's so hammy that I love him.
I feel like I've done this before, but John Goodman's really hard to pass up.
Yeah, he's a hard guy to pass up on. Is it because he got to wrestle?
I was literally about to say, yeah, he got to do some physical things.
Which is in the cartoon.
Yeah.
The dad used to be like an extreme, like professional wrestler in the past or whatever. So it's kind of nice that they brought that back.
I also want to give a huge shout out to what's his Racer X, Matthew Fox's his voice in this film sounded really good.
And his jawline looked great. We all know Matthew Fox as the guy from Lost.
That guy.
The main guy from Lost?
That guy.
Jack from Lost?
Jack.
He's in Lost. Did you know the TV show Lost also played around with chronology? Did you also know it was made by J.J. Abrams, who actually wrote a draft for this movie?
Why didn't we see this draft?
Well, drafts are drafts. They get adapted into further scripts, so maybe something from his draft remains in this movie, like the non-linear storytelling element. Could be. I'm not joking.
Yeah,
it could be.
It could be, but like, how many screenwriters were on for this movie, Bartek?
15.
Like The Wizard of Oz. Oh my god.
Did The Wizard of Oz really have 15 screenwriters?
According to Wikipedia, it did.
Oh, well, was Judy Garland one of them?
Or? It just says the Wachowskis.
Oh, the Wachowskis. Okay.
Yeah, they write their own things. They're like Tarantino.
Yeah,
what do you think about the Wachowskis make them so well liked as filmmakers? Don't just say, oh, it's the Matrix, but like, what about them as filmmakers makes them liked by critics and the general mass alike? Their style.
I'm honestly not sure. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say, because in my head I kind of get them mixed up with a lot of those auteurs. Like there's the Coen brothers. It's like, oh, siblings. And
so what you're asking, Ryan, is like, what makes them so unique?
Yeah, what makes them so
unique? New York.
Well, okay, they're from New York. I didn't know that.
No, they're not.
They're like
okay.
twisters, all right.
I don't know. I think they always have like a different visual, like, what's that? What's the word? Visual panache. Is that it?
Panache.
Panache. They have a different.
Panache.
They have a different. They have a different visual
panache.
Panache. I can't say that all in this.
Like writing pen, and ash.
Panache.
They
have a different visual panache each film.
Okay.
That's what critics.
So they're different every film.
Yes.
Okay. No trademarks or anything.
Well, their name.
Well,
Okay, their name, yeah.
Everyone has a name that they use.
Can you name each Wachowski brother?
Well,
they're sisters now, right?
Oh yeah, they're sisters now. Can you name them now?
No.
Oh.
I can't even name them when they were guys' names, so no. Because I don't like their movies, so I don't remember.
So you'd be
I
like...
just remember them as the Wachowski brothers and now the Wachowskis.
You'd remember them as W1, W2.
Sure, why not?
Are you thinking what I'm thinking, W1? I think I am W2. It's Roger Allen time.
Yeah, I love... here's the thing that I think it is. I think that they're one of the first Hollywood directors and or directing team that have such an admiration and love for the Eastern culture, especially Japanese things. Like the Matrix movies have a very, kind of Hong Kong cinema kind of aesthetic going on with the over-the-top fighting and the jumping and the wire work and that kind of storytelling that Japanese and Chinese kind of films and stories and animations and all that kind of have. Like, they have a very different storytelling kind of method to the West in their films and shows. And I think it's that. I think that critics and the audiences appreciate how they can kind of translate and transmit to the West what is so popular in the East, in their own style.
An international touch.
Yes, and obviously the East like it too. Like there's something amazingly wonderful about seeing them do that without having to be kind of, like pandering and kind of like... It's kind of like Quentin Tarantino, how he's got such a love and admiration for those exploitation, grindhouse movies and those old pulp kind of movies.
Like
and that's kind of what we love about Tarantino, and that applies to his visual filmmaking. And that's kind of what they have here and there. And I think it's also the James Cameron effect of they have always been pushing the boundaries of what is filmmaking via special effects filmmaking, which is very important to a lot of general audiences and critics alike, because general audiences will want to go see a big blockbuster that is a visual extravaganza, like The Matrix, or like Iron Man, or like the next Avengers movies. Like, the Avengers superhero movie phase is very different on a level, but there's that simplistic thing of, we do want to see the visual wonderment of Thanos fighting Captain America in space or something, right? Like, There's that thing. And I think that's it. I think they're visually striking, as Rhys said, but also pushing the boundaries of what one can do with the technology available, pushing it forward, pushing, and their love and admiration and passion for the story styles of the East. I think that's it.
It's very interesting in terms of this film, because this is based on a property that is from the East, but was much more popular in America.
Yeah.
This was a lot of people's gateway to animation from Japan.
That and Astro Boy.
Yeah.
Gotta give Astro Boy its creds.
I think Wikipedia also said that the two of the voice actors from the American dub, obviously Speed Racer, play announcers throughout this film.
I also think some of the Japanese ones over the years were some of the Japanese announcers as well.
There was a trivia point about how in the Japanese dub of this film, they had original voice actors play, funnily enough, not their original roles, but they kind of cycled around.
The thing about Japanese animation at that time and even now is when dubbed into English, the charm of it is the sped up.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I heard a critique about that I found very interesting, because this film does have a negative reputation, and even from Speed Racer fans, there's that one thing that people have talked about, which is the speed. People like the charming element of how everything was made intense and dramatic and stoic by how everyone spoke really fast. And in this movie, in between the races, everyone's kind of really just natural and slow. And people have said that it's kind of a little bit of a detriment to the movie. Like the Wachowskis' style went so well, but they kind of you should have made the actors kind of more energized, which I kind of agree with on a level. Like Roger there, he's pretty animated, so he doesn't need to push it any further. But I do agree that maybe Emile could have been a bit more kind of like fast, energetic instead of kind of stone-faced.
Have some scenes where he's a bit more manic and speaks in the original Speed Racer style,
Yeah, where they, where Rhys, they speak like, "You're the Speed Racer!" "Yes, I am the Speed Racer!"
Like, he
Incredible.
Like, he apparently rewatched the whole show because he grew up loving it in preparation for this role, so...
On Cartoon Network.
Yeah, that's where I saw it.
On Cartoon Network. I think I just saw it randomly. I never had Cartoon Network, so... Look at this shot.
The transition.
Now, are you surprised, Rhys, to learn that this is filmed primarily on green screens?
Really?
I know. It's shocking.
That is amazing, that.
I thought it was real sets for a good portion of it, but I learned it was green screens and special effects. Like, look at this. Woo.
They're well done.
Yeah. Remember, guys, this movie has Shaft in it. Just wanted to remind us.
Yes, to remind us that we're wrong.
So you're wrong.
Yes.
You're wrong, Ryan's right, and I didn't say anything.
Well, Bartek didn't know what to say because he was like, I don't know who Shaft is, so I won't say he's wrong. Is that correct?
Well, I know what Shaft is, but
who he is as an actor.
No, I didn't.
That's
I did confirm at least, so there's that.
You did reassure my correctness, so there you go.
Reaffirmed, Ryan.
So, Speed Racer's plot is really interesting for a big Hollywood blockbuster movie, and also for a TV show, in terms of, yes, it's about Go, Speed Racer, Go, but it's also that, in this movie in particular, about the general disillusionment and corruption of, a mass organized thing. Like, this could translate into anything. Like, this could be any other sport. Like, they're using it through racing, but this kind of applies to a lot of things that, like, it's not necessarily what it appears to be. That you can't judge a book by its cover necessarily. Like, there's a darkness underneath all things that are meant to bring joy and wonderment to the world, including filmmaking. And this is using the world of racing to kind of show that it's corrupt, it's rigged, it's all about money and profit. It's not about the sport or the joy of racing itself. Which, did you find that very compelling, guys? Were you compelled?
I was. I think that I can't. Obviously, it's been too long. I can't remember if that was a thing in the show or not. But it does, for the characters of Pops and Speed, that becomes a huge thing for them. Where Speed believes that yes, that is the case, and it was such an impactful thing, that one race in my past where not his past, but where he watched as a child. Shaped a lot of things for him and even for Pops. But when he brings that up to Pops, says that's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I love this guy's acting.
Let's just look at him with one face.
He reminds me of Slughorn from Willy Wonka.
He reminds me of James Spader.
From The Blacklist?
Yeah.
Like that exact character, basically.
Just James Spader in general.
Just how he always wears a black suit.
Yeah, like Boston Legal James Spader. Where he's like hanging out with William Shatner smoking big fat cigars, drinking scotch at the end of every episode. I think they wrote those because Shatner wanted to sit down one time and refused to get up.
Come on, William, get up. No.
I guess one thing that I could say to this film's detriment was at this point, they are doing the whole thing of, jumping chronology, because we've seen the race where he loses and the dad being sued, and it's cut back to here and it's continuing from here, and then it cuts back here. And I guess at the time I was like, so was that a hypothetical or was it actually happening?
It did happen.
It did happen.
Then the litigation doesn't really matter.
And I guess to an extent, like at the time I was confused. But I had to realize that, if I waited just a minute or two, it would have made complete sense. And I guess for some audiences...
They just can't wait.
But I'm also meant, like, they just can't admit being uncomfortable or confused.
They need filmmakers to pour honey on the little teaspoon and just fucking spoon feed them. Here you go.
Why?
Here you go.
Why did you give me a moment of being confused? Like, you know,
why was the moment possible?
I guess you could argue that, like, well, why was it necessary to be confused? But I would argue, why do you think it's not necessary to be uncomfortable at times?
But then I'll answer that question with, well, it's got Shaft in it. So
It's got Shaft.
it's got a chimp. It's got this guy whose name is Kick.
Yeah, he's the actor.
Kick.
Yeah, Kick.
Isn't his name Sparky?
No,
The
the
actor
actor.
is.
Oh, the actor, right.
Pay attention.
It's one of
Rhys.
those ones where,
No,
like,
but
he's-
his character's name's Sparky as well.
yeah.
Yeah, but his actor's name is Kick.
Like, can you spell that?
Kick.
His name is Kick.
He's got a
It's
last
what-
name too. It's like Kick Gutman or something weird.
What?
Kick Gurry.
Kick Gurry.
I think his real name is Christopher, but he goes by Kick.
Kick Gurry, and he's from Melbourne.
Gurry.
He's from Melbourne. So if you're listening, Kick,
Wow.
come on the show. I want to speak about just your name, not
Yeah.
this. Just your name.
Because
Just your name, bro.
Kick. I want to know the backstory. of that.
There's Ben Burns, otherwise known as Shaft.
There's Shaft on his. He has a Shaft.
Rip it
poster.
down.
Yes, he's a dirty racer.
He is. He is a dirty, dirty racer. Who...
I keep thinking you're going to say racist.
Okay. Hear that? Confirmed. He's Ben Burns, racist. Just dirty, dirty racist.
Mr. Burns, racist.
Like, that's this universe's version of races, is racists.
Racist.
So Susan Sarandon's in this movie. We all love Susan Sarandon, right? We've all appreciated her work in the past. Bartek, obviously, you know her from Witches of Eastwick.
Mm-hmm. And I think there were one or two other things that she was in that I liked. But
Rocky Horror.
yeah.
She's Janet.
Yeah.
Damn it.
There were one or two other things. It's slipped my mind, but yes, very good.
Thelma and Louise.
Yes, there's one.
Dead Man Walking.
Okay, what a weird one to throw at him. Like, you
Hey,
gotta
she's in
consider.
it.
You gotta consider who Bartek is. I don't think he's just gonna be like, oh yeah, Dead Man Walking, that classic Susan Sarandon one I've seen. Or like, if you just went, oh, The Hunger, and he'd be like, oh yeah, of course, The Hunger. I love that movie. The one where David Bowie's a vampire. Yeah, of
All right,
course.
okay. But bear in mind, she did win the Oscar for that film.
Yeah, and Bartek hasn't seen many films that have won Oscars.
Has he?
Bartek, how many? He has not. That was what I said.
But he didn't answer the question.
And that's an answer in itself.
What's the question?
That you have not seen many movies that have won Oscars.
I've seen all of them,
All Oscar-winning movies ever made, ever?
even the ones for next year.
Oh yeah, what's next year's one?
Right, you will not believe what gets Best Picture.
Okay, go on.
You'll have to wait for a minute.
No, I actually want you to. I want you to predict it now.
Well, the thing is, Ryan, I made the joke, but I just realized I don't really know any films that are out right now.
Just say.
one film.
Oh wait, Captain Marvel.
Oh really?
Captain Marvel.
You're fucking kidding me, right? No,
Just
you're
wait
not.
for next year.
You're not gonna give it to Shazam.
Oh yeah, Shazam.
Well,
Shazam.
believe it or not, Ryan, the DC films missed out on the nominations next
Are you
year.
kidding me?
No, I'm serious.
You fucking serious? Are
Yeah.
you telling me? Are you telling me that Shazam is not going to get it? Are there any other DC movies coming out this year?
Are
you telling
Wonder
me-
Woman? Wonder Woman.
No, they pushed that back.
Damn it!
They haven't even finished filming. Take that, Wonder Woman.
But later this year.
Oh, what about Paddington 2 deserves it for retrospect?
Paddington
Yeah, I was
3.
about to say, wasn't that forever ago?
That was like last year, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It should have been nominated for the Oscars. Like Hugh Grant should have been nominated. He was nominated in every other.
What was his name in that? Phoenix Buckcowan. Or
Phoenix Buchanan.
Buchanan.
The
He-
greatest fictional name for an actor, character, like his character's an actor. Uh-oh, Bartek's favorite scene where characters scream.
I was so waiting for this moment. The whole episode was just like, oh, you want to talk about this, Ryan? All right, fine. I need to pay attention to the
We didn't
scream.
even need to ask Rhys what his favorite character was. We know it's the
The
Chim
scream.
Chim.
Oh,
It's
yes.
Chim Chim.
It's not Chim Chim.
Are you lying?
I'm not.
Is it one of the family?
Yes.
Is it Detective Inspector?
No.
Is it Inspector Detective?
No.
Is it John Goodman.
Yes, it is John Goodman.
Oh, really?
Well,
Yeah.
you can't say it because I said that.
Yeah, you have to choose something else.
I have to choose
Bartek
something
said
that-
it first.
That's not fair.
Your
Okay,
favorite is now Mom.
I'm choosing his character's
okay.
favorite
What? Why?
because you already chose his character's his favorite character. I now choose his favorite character. Your new favorite character is not Chim Chim, but get ready for it. Are you ready for it?
No,
Are you ready for it?
I'm never ready for anything.
Are you ready?
I just
Go
say it.
Speed Racer Go Go. The second announcer that isn't Shaft.
Oh, so the other guy.
The other guy who's also
Is that the old guy that wears yellow?
no, near the end.
Oh,
The
right.
guy who's also in V for Vendetta. He's one of like the board.
Oh, one of the board members.
Yeah, he's also in the TV show Coupling.
Okay.
We have inadvertently had all of the main male cast members from the TV show Coupling. We've had Richard Coyle,
Dick Coyle.
Dick
your
Coyle
favourite,
from Prince of Persia. He played Jeff in Coupling, the best character in Coupling. We've had Jack Davenport in The Wedding Dates. He played like
the one that didn't learn anything.
he's the groom.
Yeah.
The one who's a drunk. And we now have had Patrick from Coupling, who's second announcer in the final race. The one who's like, oh my god, Speed is racing off.
All right, so that's my
Rhys's
favorite
character.
So that's my favorite character now.
Yes. Other than Ninja who gets his pants pulled down.
So if you chose my character,
I've already
don't-
said what my favorite character was, so you can't choose mine.
Right, so I lose out.
You were stuck in a system of Ryan asking us to pick in an order, and you were the third
Am I
one
stuck in
asked.
Ryan's bureaucracy, basically?
You're stuck in my
Ryan's
tyranny.
There we go. Wow.
I actually prefer to call it a dictatorship.
But you called it a tyranny.
But I felt that you were going to call it a tyranny, so I felt we needed to say it together. I call it a utopia. A forced upon utopia.
But for Rhys, it's a dystopia.
Well, no, for Rhys...
It's a dinotopia.
For Rhys, it's an unappreciated utopia. That's what it is.
A dinotopia.
Now, my favorite bit in the movie is near the end, in which we get the payoff to the setup that Trixie and Speed are going to kiss. They're about to kiss, they're leaning in, and then the screen pauses. And Trixel, right?
Spritle.
Spritle. Why do I keep calling him Trixel? Spritle, which
That's-
is
that's-
like a
that's-
mixture of a sprite.
Trixel.
That's like
which is
the-
a mixture of a sprite and a
Do you-
Squirtle.
Do you know the term ship names? Like when you ship characters
Oh,
together, you used to
yeah,
name
yeah.
Trixie and Spritle.
I'd be down for that. Because I remember Christina Ricci as a child actress, and I know him as a child actor. Team them up as kid versions. Love that.
Okay.
So then it's not like pedophile.
Pedo.
Okay.
Pedo.
So I love that scene where it pauses and him and Chim Chim pop up on the screen in little medical outfits, and he's like giving you a warning about how there's going to be kissing and you need a cootie shot.
Yeah.
And then he goes away again.
And then when they actually kiss, he's not that, disgusted.
Well, no, he's already given his announcement.
He's like pointing at it and everything.
Well, wouldn't you? If your brother just won the Grand Prix of 1991, which this is set in, just absorb that. Wouldn't you point at him as he kissed Trixie?
Mm-hmm. And then later down the line, when that
You would record a little thing to put over
Yep.
with your version of Chim Chim Rhys.
Yes. It's funny because my Chim Chim's much taller than me.
Well, he can sit on his knees.
And I have a brain.
Chim Chim has a brain. I don't know where that comment came from. Chimps have brains.
I know.
Wait, hold on. Oh, I get it.
If Jesus was
No.
a brain.
No.
He's saying you don't have a brain. So he's like, you're like, oh, and Rhys is taller than me, and he's like, I also have a brain. Like you don't have a brain. So Rhys just insulted you. So you now need to absorb that.
Well, I'm a
Repress
masochist, so it's
repress it, so that it can bubble up when you're a 55-year-old man and you have a heart attack from it. And you could be holding your left arm as it's like, stinging with pain, and you're remembering him saying you have no brain, and you're like, but I have a heart. And that's his
his
retort to you.
feelings.
But again, like I said, I'm a masochist, so I'll enjoy the heart attack.
And a masochist with inverted nipples, people. Just ladies, if you're listening, Bartek, he's a masochist with inverted nipples.
And
You
also,
can't use the nipple clamps, but I have all the other limbs.
You can use the other clams.
I have fingers,
And
toes, even a nose.
I'll sell myself. Ladies, I can fold my nipples.
He can't, though.
I can!
You
I just
can't.
proved it!
You can't. You said you couldn't. That's what you proved.
To be fair, we were just looking at you kind of playing with your shirt.
Oh.
Yeah, dude. You need
All right,
to
what if
let
I
us see
actually
the
went
blood drip down.
under?
Your black shirt that it's hard to, like,
If I
protect.
actually went under like so?
That would
and
just
then-
be playing with your the other side of the shirt.
You're going to say playing
Rhys,
with your under nipple.
Look, I'm just going to say it, Rhys, you have to take off the shirt.
I have to take off the shirt.
Rhys, what we're saying is you can't do it, but we're pressuring you to do it to a ludicrous extent for our own amusement.
So if I took off my shirt and actually presented nipples akimbo.
That would make Bartek very satisfied.
Well, he'll have to hit me first, but yeah.
Like, why would I have to hit you?
This is a masochist. We went through this.
Oh, yeah,
Rhys.
he's a masochist.
Keep up to speed,
And as we
racer,
all
speed,
know-
racer, go,
as we-
speed, racer.
As we all
Racist
know,
speed...
a masochist's wet dream is Rhys Mckenzie.
Oh, yeah. We've all heard
No,
this.
I'm Ryan's wet
There's that
dream.
scene. Oh, no, honey. You're more of a nightmare. I wake up sweating in the middle of the night thinking about Rhys shirtless. I'm like, oh, God, no. No, that's terrifying. It's like, you know Skeletor?
Yes.
The
Yeah.
character of Skeletor. And when they made the live-action He-Man movie, they had, like... Oh, who was it? They had a really good actor play Skeletor.
Max von Sydow?
Was it? No, he was Ming the Merciless in
Oh.
Flash Gordon, wasn't
Yeah, he was.
he?
You're
Was
right.
it Christopher Plummer?
N-
Oh, I can't remember. Get up!
Get it up, Bartek.
I can't remember
No, I don't have
whom
internet.
it was. Skeletor.
Okay.
And they had the makeup for him, and he didn't look like a proper skeleton. He looked like a Burns victim.
Okay.
That's what I imagine Rhys with the shirt off.
By the way, we're at the part in the film
So
where...
I'm like Freddy Krueger.
Not that much of a Burns victim.
We're in the part of the film where Speed's wearing his iconic outfit.
Oh, this isn't that iconic of an outfit for Speed. He looks like snake oil, but like... Very iconic, though.
I don't know, I think from my childhood this is how he looked when he pretended to be snake oil.
Oh, you got me there. Put my hands in cuffs and take me away.
Put your hands on your nipples.
No, that's Rhys. You gotta say that to Rhys.
Hands on nipple.
Oh, okay. I don't know why that needed to be the voice to represent that move.
Hands on nipple.
Okay. Making fun of both people with voices and lists.
Ryan, he's trying to make an iconic voice.
Oh, he's trying to be
And
like...
an iconic line.
Oh, he's trying to make a catchphrase.
Yes.
Yes.
Hands on nipple.
Did you also lisp at me?
I don't think so.
Am I stuck in a world in which I'm in between lisps?
Yes,
Oh, God, no.
You are stuck, Ryan, with me. You
This
are
is
stuck.
a great transition.
Wait, no, Rhys, if you're going to be a big lisping character, you have to use Ryan's last name because it has a bunch of S's.
Sliwinski.
Oh, wow. You nailed it. Now say my middle name.
What's your middle name?
Oh, it's got an S in it.
You gotta guess.
Steven.
That's my dad's name, though.
Oh, okay.
The S is in the middle of the name.
Go on, Rhys. That's right. You can't
I
get it.
can't think of anything else but Steven right now. That's what I think
You
you're
can't even think of Stefan.
Okay. Stefan.
No.
Well, I give up.
What's your middle name?
It starts with a K.
Kyle.
Nope.
I actually don't know Rhys's name.
Carol.
No.
Christopher.
Carol?
Christopher with a K.
No.
Crystal.
No. I'll give you a clue.
Go on.
Home Alone.
Kevin.
Correct.
Oh.
It's Kevin.
Kev.
Kevin.
Kev.
Kevin.
Kev.
Kevin.
Kev. Big Kev here.
Kevin!
Hey, hey,
Riso
guys.
Kevo McKenzie.
Guys, we're joined by the reanimated corpse of Australian icon Big Kev, whom you might remember being a big fat guy who advertised sauce bottles.
Gee, thanks.
No, you need to say it like Big Kev would have said
How
it.
would have Big Kev said
You never
it?
seen Big Kev?
No.
Are you kidding me?
I've never seen Big Kev.
Bartek, you've seen Big Kev.
I couldn't tell you who it is, but I...
You like Fat Pizza?
Oh, that guy?
He's in Fat Pizza.
Okay, that Kevin. That Kevin.
That's Big Kev. You remember?
Right.
Do you actually know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
He had the phrase.
Kevin Tuckaloo, I think it was... No.
I can't remember.
His
He's
character's
in one episode as Big Kev, and he's having he's having an orgy, and he says his catchphrase, "I'm excited."
Sorry, are we talking about Kev the Kiwi?
No, we're talking about Australian icon who appeared in Fat Pizza as himself.
Right, so not the recurring character, Kev the
Big
Kiwi.
Kev, who was a fat white-haired Australian man who hawked barbecue products, and his catchphrase was, "I'm excited!" And in Fat Pizza, he's having sex. I'm pretty sure sex. I don't think he even has a heart attack, and he says, "I'm excited!" and dies. Great shot here. Just
good great transition.
Great transition. Back to Big Kev now. Big Kev was this huge, like, you remember Huey? Huey, who had his cooking show on in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Huey's Cooking. You remember Huey?
Huey's Cooking Adventures, was it?
Huey's Cooking Adventures, where he was this big fat guy with a big jolly moustache and white hair. And he was like the opposite of Jamie Oliver, where Jamie Oliver's the kind of cook who's like, "All right, guys, let's make a food with no oil in it, because oil will be bad." Huey, he's just like, "All right, guys, so we're going to be cooking one single fish. You're going to need 4 bottles of oil for this and 3 tubs of butter, and not like little tubs, industrial-sized tubs of butter." And that was Huey, and he would always wear suspenders, like braces.
I think I remember that, yeah.
And,
so jolly.
And he would be cooking out in a public park. Like, you would see a swing set behind him. Like, he wouldn't cook in a studio. He'd be, like, outside. You'd see people walk past, and sometimes you'd hear them go, "Hey, is that Huey?" That's Australian cooking TV for you people out there. Not as good as Speed Racer. But you know what Speed Racer isn't as good as? One Australian cooking show I think we all remember called Ready, Steady, Cook.
I remember the name, yeah.
Used to watch it all the time when I was sick.
Yeah, it was one of those shows if you were home from school, it would be on at 2:30 on Channel 10. And it had one host. It had 2 hosts. One of them was Colin Lane, Australian comedian, well respected until then. And then
Ouch.
the original host, who no one can remember except for me apparently, who was an extremely gay man.
Oh, you told me about this,
Extremely gay, like very flamboyant. And he would always be hitting on the male contestants and touching them inappropriately and making sexual innuendos all the time. And it was just fascinating to watch the legal case being mounted against him via the show. Like, I don't think he ever had anything, but like, you just watch the show and you're like, they would use this scene here and this one here in the court case against him. He'd always be like touching them, being like, "Aren't you a nice chunky boy?"
So all the witnesses would have just been the TV viewers.
Yeah.
Australia... I was sick from school and I saw it.
Yeah, Australia stands up and went, "We all saw it." We all saw it. I'm waiting for the Me Too Ready Steady Cook hashtag to be emerging.
We should totally do an episode of Ready Steady Cook on this.
As an unappreciated masterpiece movie? Like,
Yes.
we just splice it all into a movie like...
No, we actually do a Ready Steady Cook.
Movie?
No, yes.
We make one?
Yes.
I'd love that. Bartek, out of all the bad guy henchman caricatures in this sequence, or in the film in general, did you have a particular favorite?
I liked the guy that tried to... In this sequence specifically, like when he was trying to jump or flip into Speed, he missed and he just like laughs or something.
Yes. What about you, Rhys?
I like this villain, like the Beehive.
Right, my favorite...
I love the Beehive too because...
It's so ludicrous.
Yeah.
Because they're moving really quickly, but the bees are like stuck in orbit around the Beehive.
Oh, that's how they work. Bees, no one knows how they fly. According to the Bee Movie.
I just thought it was the wings.
No. I liked Black Viking. Black Rastafarian Viking. Because when you think of Vikings, you don't think black guys.
Yeah, you think of white hairy dudes.
You think of like
White-hairy
white
dudes.
blonde-haired, blue-eyed, like, or redheads. Very pale skin, but you don't think of like black guy. A black guy with like Rastafarian beard and accent, because he's like, "I'm gonna get you, man." Or Rhys, could you say it in your pirate voice for us?
So what's the sentence again?
"I'm gonna get you, man."
I'm going to get your man.
No, that's Sean Connery.
No, that's my Orson Welles.
That's his Sean Connery.
I mean, that's Orson Welles.
I'm going to get ya.
No, that's closer. That's closer.
I didn't realize I was doing a Orson Welles.
Just then you were.
Orson. I'm Orson.
What a great shot. What a great shot. How hard do you think it is to train a monkey?
Very hard.
I think pretty easy. You just need a monkey trainer.
There was a movie recently, a TV movie about Harry and Prince Harry and his new wife,
Megan
Merkel.
Markle.
They have a scene in it in which there's a tiger in it, or lion. Can't remember which one. Lion. Let's say lion, just for fun. And apparently in the scene, like, they have a gun pointed at, and the guard's supposed to put the gun away, but the lion tamer thought that the lion was supposed to take the gun away. So in every take, they had this lion smack the gun out of his hand, and the guy would shit himself because, like, that wasn't supposed to happen. And then they had to reteach the lion not to do that.
Have you seen a clip from Graham Norton's show with Seth Rogen talking about the interview?
Yes.
That one was very funny. How they had was it a lion or a tiger in that one?
It was a tiger.
The tiger trainer just doing everything that you would not want a tiger trainer to do, and also getting his son to train the tiger for him or something like that.
We're getting up to the moment in which ninjas are going to be introduced to the movie. Now, Rhys, before we get into the ninja talk, because, you know what they say, if you have an army of one ninja, they're pretty much impossible to beat, but if you have an army of ninjas upside down, they're really easy to beat. But before we get into the ninja talk,
yes,
how turned on by that leather outfit are you?
Not really.
That Speed Racer is. Does it not remind you of Cyclops?
Wait, that Speed Racer's wearing?
I mean,
Racer X.
Racer X. I'm sorry, Bartek, that everyone has race in their name.
It's just not George Clooney Batman. I mean, it doesn't turn me on whatsoever.
Is it because of the lack of nipples?
Lack of nipples, yeah.
Which you're all about this episode.
Yeah.
Race is all about the nips. If Jesus had nipples, he would be Greek.
So he is Greek.
If he had them.
Well, he had nipples.
Well, were you there? Were you there?
He had nipples.
Were you there to see his nipples?
Yeah. Have you seen every single crucifix?
Have you not read the Book of Mark?
Do tell us. Did it say Jesus
a puff
had no nipples? Well,
it's chapter 1, verse 1, man.
Jesus, you can't confirm
Jesus had nipples.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
100% sure?
It's on every crucifix.
Not every crucifix. I could grab a crucifix right now, and he probably doesn't have nipples.
Grab it.
Let me just grab my old-fashioned crucifix that I just have hanging up in the house. But
am I ready? Yes.
Are you ready for the ninja talk?
What does the ninja talk involve?
Do you like ninjas?
I love ninjas.
Do you like ninjas in this movie?
Yes, they're very funny.
Funny? So you think ninjas are fucking funny? You
No.
know what's not funny? Ninjas. Bartek, I'm going to talk to a real ninja expert now. I'm calling in the Wachowskis themselves. Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep. Thank you, Wachowskis. That's actually how they talk now. They just talk in a series of beeps and boops.
Just like R2-D2.
No. Completely different. They weren't trying to do their version of Star Wars with Jupiter Ascending. Isn't that right, Wachowski? Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep. Thank you. Exactly right. What about you, other Wachowski?
Yeah, not really.
Exactly right. That's the third Wachowski, the one that's called Sylvester Wachowski.
Sylvester Wachowski.
Who's a mixture of Rocky and the cat.
Could you say that is like a Home Alone sort of deal, like, Sylvester Wachowski?
No.
Oh, why not?
I will get the other Wachowski to say their name. Other Wachowski, say their name. Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, boop. Beep, boop, boop, beep, beep. Sylvester, beep. Thank you, Wachowskis.
Suffering.
Wachowskis, when you hired ninjas in your movie, were they actors or real ninjas? Beep. Real ninjas? Whoa. How do you hire real ninjas? Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, 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 bark.
Ninja star.
So you hired them from a dog kennel. Interesting. What were they doing at a dog kennel, my Wachowski friends? Beep boop beep 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 beep
Harakiri.
So they work at dog kennels to teach dogs to be ninjas. I knew it. And that's what the next movie's about, right, guys? You're doing they're doing their version of Amazing Wacky Races, where they teach Muttley to be a ninja, and Muttley like karate chops like Does Muttley work for Snidely Whiplash, or is that No, that's
that's Dudley Do Right.
He works for what's the bad guy in Wacky Races?
Dick Dastardly.
Dick Dastardly. Oh, I'm sorry for getting Dick Dastardly and Snidely Whiplashed confused. How did I get that confused? I don't know.
I would have accepted Waluigi.
Or did you guys ever watch Roger Ramjet?
No.
You never watched Roger Ramjet?
I preferred Wacky Races.
Roger Ramjet, he's a hero.
I remember the song,
leader of the nation. And he used to help fight bad guys, a proton pill, which was just steroids. He would just put a little pill and he would gain muscle and then punch them.
Oh, I see. Ninjasing.
Oh, here's ninjas. Here's a nice little reference to James Bond.
It is?
Yes, there's a man.
Oh, there's a man. Okay.
No, isn't there a James Bond movie where an assassin tries to kill James Bond in his sleep by lowering down one of these little wires and drips poison down?
Probably.
And he moves and it goes on his mouth and then James Bond's like, aha. I'm 100% sure on this. Rhys, you can't say I'm wrong because you thought that it wasn't Shaft.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that there's one of the old school James Bonds has this, and then it's referenced in Grosse Pointe Blank, and now it's referenced in this. Do you think, Bartek, that ninjas are some of the coolest inventions ever used for fictional purposes? Like, I know ninjas existed, but like for fictional things, do you think ninjas are as cool as they are?
I think they are. There's a lot of things you can do with ninjas. They have the whole honor code.
Or lack of honor code.
They have like that vaguely magical abilities that is called ninjutsu and things like that. I think there's some debate among like people about what's cooler, like ninjas or pirates.
And the answer: samurais.
I'm the answer.
I'm into samurais, but between the two, I think ninjas are more interesting.
Yeah, I agree. But you know what's even better? Ninja pirates. Thanks, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Robot ninja pirates, maybe.
Oh, dogs! Dog ninja robot pirates. Have you watched many, if any, ninja movies, though? Like, it's a whole genre.
I mean, I don't know about movies, but I've certainly played a lot of Japanese games and seen anime, so there's that.
Favorite ninja game? Go.
Let's see.
And you can't choose those bits of Crash Bandicoot where you play through Asian aesthetics.
Yeah, there were some like that, weren't there?
Yeah, when you're on the Great Wall of China. And number 3, you're riding as...
I can't remember if there were ninjas on that level.
There were. No, they're just carrying things.
There were a bunch of
I said just Asian aesthetics.
Yeah.
I said just Asian aesthetic levels. You're not allowed to choose that.
The ninjas in Destroy All Humans 2 are pretty funny.
Yes.
Because they had their whole... Because there was the white ninjas and the black ninjas, and they're like, oh, what was the difference between them? Like, a long time ago, we had a master who wore grey, and it's like, oh, and there was, like, some fight between you two about, like... And
what
that split you
colour?
apart, right? It's like, no, we accidentally ordered black and white ninja suits, and we couldn't agree on which ones get which uniforms, so we split because of that
That kind of
reason.
stuff always makes me think of the TV show Red Dwarf, where in that, it's set in the future, 3 million years... And his pet cat mutated and evolved, and eventually, once he wakes up, a whole civilization of people who evolved from cats existed, and they've moved on. And they had like holy crusade wars because his whole dream was to open up a hot dog stand in Fiji, and they've translated this into like a hot dog donut stand in their holy land of Fushal. And they fought over what color hats it should be, blue or red. Like, that was their holy crusades. And he's like, such a tragedy. They were meant to be green.
So, Ryan, what do you have to say about ninjas in fiction?
Well, your favorite ninja game is Destroy All Humans 2, #confirmed. I think ninjas are great. I don't watch enough ninja-related content in my life. I think I've seen a few... and they're great. Would you count just Bruce Lee movies as ninja movies? Because he versus ninjas in them sometimes.
If there are ninjas in there, then yeah.
I love me some ninjas. I love me Death Stars. I love me nunchucks. I love the
shuriken, yeah.
Nunchucks? Sure.
Well, you're talking about the Death Stars, the
Yeah.
Ninja Stars.
No, yeah, you're giving them the proper name, but we all know it's cooler when you call them Ninja Death Stars.
Well, that just makes it sound like Star Wars.
No. You're making it sound like Star Wars. When you just say to someone, "Hey, do you like ninja Death Stars?" You're like, "Oh, I know what those are. Those are the Death Stars that ninjas throw."
Yeah.
Did you think of Star Wars?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
You're fucking
You
kidding
said
me.
Death Star, Ryan.
You said Death Star.
Yeah, but they're called ninja Death Stars.
Yeah, but
Because they're stars that you throw at people and they kill
Yeah.
them. I know you're saying, oh, because of the Death Star, but fuck off. Ninjas are above Star Wars.
Ryan, you
even
can
though they
fight all you
fucking
want.
appear on them. I'm right and you're wrong. We've
You are
already
Ryan.
confirmed this.
You're Ryan and we're wrong.
My favorite ninja movie is Star Wars 3, Revenge of the Sith, because we're talking about Star Wars now, and that movie basically has ninjutsu in it. There you go.
All right.
Rhys, we don't need to know your favorite ninja movie. We
Why
know it's My Little Pony the movie. We know it.
All right.
I
Go
think
on.
there is a ninja pony in there.
Could you explain why it's my favorite ninja pony?
Because you're a brony. Did I need to say it out loud? I was going to save you the embarrassment of saying it out loud, but there you go.
Well, thank you.
What's your real answer, Rhys?
That was his answer. It's the
Well,
Smurfs
Ryan,
movie.
I'm under Ryan's tyranny, so I have to obey.
My Utopia. It's Smurfs, right? With Neil Patrick Harris?
The what?
Neil Patrick Harris movie called The Smurfs.
He did a
Is there a
Smurfs movie?
Ninja Smurf?
Oh, there must be. There's a Smurf of every variety.
Is there like an Avatar Smurf?
Well, I mean, they're all Avatar Smurfs on a level. Are you kidding me? You know how they made that live-action Smurfs movie where like had Katy Perry as Smurfette?
Yeah.
Well, when they go to the live-action world, it's Neil Patrick Harris that they go visit. And in the second one, Neil Patrick Harris's dad is Brendan Gleeson,
Aww.
who doesn't change his accent.
Oh, so he's Irish.
Of course.
Well, it makes sense. Neil Patrick Harris could come off as Irish.
His middle name's Patrick. So.
His name is Patrick.
But he doesn't look Irish.
Yes, he does.
He looks like a little Nazi boy.
He looks Irish.
He's blonde-haired, blue-eyed.
Yeah, but
Where
like,
do ninjas fit into this?
Because Ninja Smurfs! Oh, it's because
Ninja Smurfs.
Nazi ideology came, oddly enough, they got the swastika from India, and India has some ninjas too.
go on.
Indian ninjas. He's seen Bollywood movies. He could tell us about
All right.
Indian representation of ninjas. I'm sure they've appeared.
I don't think they were called ninjas, but I think there were some action films that did have some rather agile folks.
Agile folks.
With some scimitars or something.
Just some agile Indians on their day out walking down the streets. They like to hop and spin to grab an apple. No action scene, just them walking. This guy here was one of them. He's just kung fuing his way through.
In
the
Japan,
day.
they're called shinobi.
Shinobi.
Oh, like
Shinobi.
Star Wars, right?
Is there a shinobi in Star Wars?
Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, that rhymes, but
It's
not the
very
same.
similar, though. So,
And if it rhymes, then yeah.
well, anything, you can basically say anything is it's like Star Wars, right?
Yeah, it's like Ryan and Tryon. You try a lot.
Well, I'm
Ryan
right. I'm
Tryon.
right. It's also like right a lot, so there you go.
Yeah, because you have a T in your name.
I do. It's just silence.
Oh, so you're French.
Get on,
Uh,
Seve.
Yarg.
That proves it.
What?
Confirmed.
Yarg.
That's French for yes.
It is.
We don't believe you. And by that I mean...
Try
Oh,
hard.
you're
Try
saying-
harder,
you're
Ryan.
You're saying oui means French? No, that's the feminine for French. The masculine for French is yarg.
Oh.
Yeah, I just pwned you.
Did you just gender the word yes?
But you know how the French language, you know how European languages work, right?
It's usually with nouns, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm
You're German.
I'm German, yeah, of course. Hazaka. Germans are just
Sumimasen.
Germans are just throat noises. I like John Goodman's walking here. I don't know if you noticed that. His arms are as stiff as a board.
He's leaning
He
forward
doesn't
a
want to
bit.
carry those fire extinguishers.
Well, do you?
no.
Exactly right. Correct answer. You've passed. You're now on level 4.
This is his...
Really?
Yeah.
I'm on level 4? What does that mean in the Ryan Utopia?
Oh, you'll find out at level 10.
Does it get like
So you have to reach level 10 to find out what privileges you had at level 4.
Yeah.
So what if I get to level
It's a pyramid scheme.
So if I get to level 10 and if I get to level 21 per se, I get to find
Oh, there's
out.
no level 21.
I think less pyramid schemes are more like the OT levels from Scientology.
Ah,
No,
you
yeah.
got me.
So Ryan's a Scientologist.
No.
How dare you say that? He's going to sue you now.
No. Michael Pena's a Scientologist.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
Nancy Cartwright's a Scientologist.
I found out that
Isaac Hayes was a Scientologist.
I found out that what's her name? The actress that played Donna in that 70s show is also apparently one.
Oh, most of the cast of that 70s shows are Scientologists.
I heard that it was just her and Hyde.
Hyde and his brother, who also appeared for several episodes of that 70s show.
I thought we were talking about main cast.
Oh, most of the cast. A lot of the cast members that come in with Scientologists because Danny knows them. Like, come on in.
Yeah.
Come be in my show. Yeah, Scientology, people. Yummy, yummy. The cult that keeps existing.
And will never go away.
I mean, it will,
It's
eventually.
on the decline, but they won't tell you that.
Oh, it's going great guns.
What'd you say? Sorry?
Oh, I was just from the point of view of a Scientologist. It's going great guns.
Guns?
Guns?
It's going great guns.
Guns.
Is that a saying? Great
That's
guns?
a saying.
Okay.
Are you sure that's a saying?
Yeah. It's going great guns.
No, you're lying. No, that's a lie.
It sounds like you're complimenting like your biceps or something.
No, I think he's lying. It's called great guys. The phrase is guys.
The phrase is guns.
What are you on about?
No, I said...
The phrase is it's going great, guys.
No, the phrase is going great guns.
I think. Are you talking about like? Oh, is it like a Cool Beans kind of thing?
Yeah.
What are you on about from this movie?
No, from just
We're
in
not talking about the movie,
society.
right?
Well, the movie has the phrase cool beans used a lot because
Does
that's
it?
Trixie's catchphrase.
Oh, okay.
Don't you remember that?
I just brought that out of nowhere.
No, she says that throughout the movie. She remember when she's a little girl, she looks at the camera and goes, "Cool beans," and then she says that throughout the movie. That's why I was like, "Oh, you're referencing the movie." I'm sorry, Bartek, for having remembered her catchphrase.
I'm sorry for coincidentally bringing it up.
I think you're lying, Rhys.
I'm not lying.
It's great guns.
That's
What
he
does that
said.
even
Oh,
mean?
It's going good.
Yeah, it's great, guy. Well, I'm going in the windshield wiper territory for father figures, in which my brain is melting because I'm like, it's clearly this logical thing that is happening, but you are like, no, Ryan, it's this completely illogical thing. And knowing me, it'll be my luck. It'll actually be a phrase that's
Right.
only used in 1910.
I'm going to look this up right now.
To be fair, with slang and sayings, it's up in the air if it's true.
Oh
or not,
yeah,
so,
like I could say, "Oh, Bartek, you don't know the phrase "mashugana, bruh," and you're like, "What does that mean?" It means hello. Are you okay,
Oh,
Dr. Robotnik?
What-
There
was it
we go.
Manduck?
I gotta read it before you start laughing. Definition of going great guns in the idioms dictionary. Let's see. I don't believe you still.
Oh,
Going
it's
great
right in his
guns.
face.
Okay. To do something enthusiastically and successfully. As heard in the UK and Australia. He was hesitant at first, but now that he's been on the job for a month, he's going great guns. I don't even know what that means. Wait. So, did the context you just used it in still applies?
Yes.
Did it, Bartek?
I think it did, yeah.
I don't know. Another version of this is, I'm over my cold and going great guns. Business is great. We are going great guns selling ice cream. Rhys, I still don't believe it. I think you have made an internet page before we even started the episode to then justify your going great
I can't even
guns.
tie my shoelaces properly. I can't do a website.
I like how those are two connected things. Like, dude, I can't even do my shoelaces, let alone make a website. You're right.
Yeah.
They are totally connected things. So, guys, if you don't know how to do your shoelaces, just give up on life. You can't do anything.
Just get your
Make a
French
website. We're not sponsored by Squarespace, but if we were, it wouldn't apply to you because they make easy and efficient websites that you can create. Well, you can't because you can't tie your shoelaces. You're excluded.
I like something that Rhys did a while ago on Facebook. Because
no.
Rhys is in a band,
Yes.
and he has a Facebook
Oh, he's looking for a
page.
drummer and a lyricist, guys. So,
Well, not a lyricist, but...
oh, you found a drummer.
No, we haven't found a drummer. No, wait, hang on. We are still looking for a drummer. We don't need a lyricist.
Oh, but you asked me to be your lyricist.
Well, if you want to be a lyricist, you can be.
There you go. They're looking for a lyricist.
No, we're not looking. But if you want to be a lyricist...
Okay, let me just phrase it in a better way.
Right.
Your band's name is...
Ascarian, yeah.
Ascarian.
Yes.
They're going great guns, but they might need a lyricist.
No.
But they definitely need a drummer.
Yes.
They need new great guys.
And if you happen to be a lyrical drummer, that would be even better.
Yes.
But they don't need that. What they do need is a drummer and perhaps a lyricist. If you're in the Melbourne area, contact Rhys Mckenzie via Ascarian's Facebook site and emails and MySpace.
To give context,
MySpace?
we don't really need a lyricist.
But they
if
definitely need a drummer.
drummer.
Do you know how to drum?
Bartek? Okay.
You're hired.
You're high. What were you going to say before,
They're a metal
Bartek?
band?
So recently, the reason why you're looking for a new one is because a band member left, right?
Yes.
No, they died. You shouldn't have brought it up.
And in the Facebook post, you posted as Ascarian.
Yes.
And when you were listing out the names, you were like, other two band members and I. As if we were meant to know, like, oh, Rhys is writing this.
Well, I did because he also used the phrase, things are going great, guns. And I just went, that's clearly Rhys who wrote this.
Didn't we have a thing on a previous episode where Rhys was talking about something about a guitarist and we were confused about it?
Yeah, look, Rhys is confusing, as is this sequence here, in which it's showing the confusion of the stock market. You know, things are going chaotic. You know, and Royalton here, he's like, whoa, I've got to buy for higher stock share? Oh boy, this is really a kid's movie. That's the thing I gotta ask. Who is this for?
Kids.
Because it says it's for kids, but at the same time they have, like, sexy things, lots of violence. It goes for over 2 hours, and it's a lot of business and stock markets.
I
and
feel like
intrigue about capitalism and corruption.
I feel like it's the type of film that wants to be for everyone, but would mostly appeal to people that like knew the show.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it's one of those ones that is meant for everyone but appeals to no one.
Well, evidently that's not true because, you know, this does, to an extent, have a cult following.
Yeah,
but it's still unappreciated.
You could say that about every movie ever made. You can't apply that rule to it, but you can at the same time.
Well, I feel like with cult followings, there has to actually be, like, the rise in later years.
Oh, like The Room?
Yeah. I don't think you can just say, like, oh, a few people like this. It's like, yeah, there has to be a bit more than a few.
Well, yeah, things are going great guns. Rhys Mckenzie.
Yes.
We didn't get to hear about your favorite ninja thing, did we?
Well,
Because I told you you're not allowed to.
Yes.
But you know what? I've decided that you're still not allowed to.
Okay.
But I just wanted to bring up that wouldn't this guy here be great as a ninja?
I'd love to see it. I would absolutely love to see it.
And his special ninja skill is being quiet.
I feel like, yeah, if he, like, escaped from prison and he needed to find a gang and he found ninjas, then he'd be like, well, I have to adopt the way.
He adapts. That's his strength.
Bushido Samurai. Whatever, it was some sort of ninja way term.
What? What did you say?
You know what Bushido is? Bushido's like the samurai code. And
Isn't
stuff
that like that
so
really thin slice of meat that you can get at the deli?
I don't think so, but whatever
Rhys,
like a...
you know what I'm talking about, a prosciutto?
Yeah, prosciutto. A prosciutto roll? Like...
A prosciutto roll, yeah.
There's no R in it.
A prosciutto. What's that really thin slice of meat you can get from the deli?
Salami.
No, not fucking salami, you fuck. So you can buy ninja meat at your deli, that's what I'm saying.
No, samurai meat.
Samurai meat. Well, we said about ninjas, now you're involving him in a samurai gang?
Well, I was trying to think of if there's a term for like a ninja code, but I guess I'll just say ninja code.
Prosciutto code.
Salami.
Salami code. He's in the ham code.
He's in the ham code.
Didn't you know all these fighting people's codes are all based on meats?
That is true. That is true. Now, we've got to talk about the main aspect of the movie. It's in the title.
Speed Racer.
Race.
Oh.
We've got to talk about the fucking racing.
Race relations.
Race relations. So, in this movie, they use the unusual tactic of having the American team up with the Japanese, but then the Japanese betrays the American. Do you think that's like a commentary on the disillusionment the Japanese have felt towards America post-World War II? Like, due to the nuclear bombings, the Japanese have a general disillusionment. Do you think that's what that's about?
No, I think it's the fact that they don't localize most of the niche games.
Do you think it's because Konami's involved somehow?
What's Konami?
It's a video game company. They
Metal
make,
Gear.
They make Metal Gear Solid.
Well, they
and
used
many
to
other
make
things.
Metal Gear Solid.
Well, they make pachinko machines based on it. There's a Metal Gear Solid 3
They
remake
made
that's
Metal
a pachinko
Gear,
machine.
Metal Gear Survive,
Yes, they did.
which is like the lamest game ever made, in which it's like build a fence, poke 'em with a stick. That's the game, Rhys. That's Metal Gear now, because they kicked.
Actually, I don't think you build the fence. I think you just take them to a fence and then poke them through it.
Oh, really? Fuck me.
I can't remember, yeah.
Because they kicked out what's his name?
They kicked out Kojima Productions.
Oh,
They kicked out Kojima himself.
bastards.
And now he's making this weird game called Death Stranding, which nobody knows what the fuck it is, and it's
Yeah.
never going to be released by the sounds of things.
It
Where it's got
be.
Norman Reedus in it as a baby and as a man. But the baby Norman Reedus looks like adult Norman Reedus.
Before he was kicked out, he and another guy were making a new Silent Hill game. Do you know who the other guy was, Rhys?
No, I don't. Who was it?
Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, Guillermo.
And it was going to be called Silent Hills,
Yeah.
because it's a sequel.
And then they kicked them out, and then he won an Oscar.
Guillermo, not
Yeah, not Kojima.
He would want that.
Yeah,
You know who Kojima needs to team up with just to piss off my brain? David Cage. Because they both love writing more than they love games. Could you imagine their game together? Where it would be like 15 years long, everything's done by QuickTime events, and the storyline is incomprehensible garbage.
That would be confusing.
And it's nothing allegorical. Because that's David Cage's whole thing now, where it's like, oh, was it becoming human?
Detroit become human.
Isn't about race things, it's just about androids. He's like, I'm not using robots as an analogy for anything potent. It's just about robots.
By the way, feel free to spray paint I Have a Dream.
I have a dream.
Oh, sorry, digital apply, not spray paint. 'cause it's
But
androids.
the racing here is almost as good as the saga of Kojima having to make Death Stranding being a thing, because he's a crazy man, right?
He's very eccentric, yeah.
You can say crazy man. It's okay to admit it.
You can
This is a guy
who's put himself into some of the later Metal Gear
This
games,
is a guy whose Twitter is nothing but talking about how sexy Norman Reedus's body is, and he can't wait to show us all in Death Stranding.
In Metal Gear Solid.
This is a real guy.
I can tell.
In Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, which was the first, or one of the first Metal Gear games where you like recruited soldiers and you have like
that the fourth
base
one?
management. It's technically the fifth one, but it's not Metal Gear Solid 5. Yeah, it's the only one that's not numbered, but that's like really essential to the main story. It's weird. In it, you can unlock him as a soldier, and every single soldier has like a quote associated to them. And I think Kojima's one is like 70% of my life is movies. It's up to you to decide what the other 30% is.
Porn.
I guess.
Because these games also have weird sexual elements to them that I do not appreciate.
No, a lot of Japanese games.
I don't appreciate it. Rhys, you love racing.
I do.
Yeah, we've driven in the car with Rhys, and he's a bit of a lead-foot driver.
I'm a lead-foot driver.
Yeah, you kind of, push on the accelerator a bit.
To make it go forward.
To make it go forward real fast.
All right.
What did you think of the racing? Did you have a particular favorite racing or driving sequence in this movie?
I liked the desert sequence more so because it had a lot more going for it.
With the bees.
With the bees.
Hmm.
And like
Not the bees!
It just felt like I liked the gadgetry of the cars.
Like the combat racing.
Yeah.
A lot of apparently there's a lot of people having the notion that this is also a pretty good adaptation of the F-Zero video game series.
The F-Zero, I've heard of that.
I've never played them.
Yeah,
I've never heard of them.
It's do you know the character Captain Falcon that's in Smash Brothers?
I'm aware.
That's the video game series he's from. It's basically a futuristic style racing game where there aren't weapons or anything like in Mario Kart, but like if you the cars still have health bars, and if they get blown up then they retire.
And they're goofy looking designs?
The character designs are
It's not like they're
varied.
real cars.
Yeah, they're like futuristic-looking cars. Yeah.
Is it one of these games in which, when you're a kid, you drive backwards to smash into other people to be a dick? Because I used to do that with every car racing game. I would just reverse, drive backwards through, and smack into the person running first just to be a dick.
I think because it emphasizes speed a lot, you can't really come to a stop very easily.
Good.
It's like
so
emphasizing speed.
If you reverse, speed down, and then smash into the other person, it's going to fuck them over real good.
Well, unless they,
Bounce.
swerve around you.
But they won't be expecting you.
There's a pretty decent draw distance from what I remember, so you can kind of see.
I think you just smack right into them.
It's not as clunky as games where you play as really big cars and it's like realistic kind of physics.
I think
it'll
I'm going to
work.
do it. You're going to give me a copy of this game. I'm going to do it, and then Rhys will play it, and he'll be coming first, which is I'm doubtful.
Yeah,
I think also the
and
tracks,
I'll smack into him, and he'll be like, Jesus Christ, Ryan!
I think also the tracks are pretty wide and the cars are pretty small compared to.
So
Yeah.
you underestimate my ability to be a dick.
We'll see. I won't doubt you, Ryan, but I'd like to see
My dick?
Your what?
that too. But I was talking about your F-Zero abilities.
Your what?
My penis.
Oh dear.
You remember there was this New Zealand soap opera show that got very popular like a year or two ago because the dad in it found out his son had sent a dick pic to a girl unsolicited, and the dad dramatically says, Jesus, please don't tell me that you actually sent her a picture of your penis.
What?
And then it had that dramatic end of episode music. Dun, dun, dun. It's like that's how the episode ended. Do you not remember this?
No.
This was a real thing. This is a real thing.
You have to show me this.
Our friends over at the Passive Aggressive podcast use that as an audio drop in their segments to introduce one of their segments. It's like, please don't tell me that you've shown them your penis. It's pretty great. The racing in this was thrilling. It was exciting. Better than Fast and Furious. Take that, the Fast and Furious franchise. Rhys doesn't agree. He's looking at me with a death stare. He's like, do not mock my babies. I love the Fast and Furious. Is that true?
I like 5, 6, and 7. I haven't
Wow,
seen...
you don't like number 2?
I haven't seen number 2 in ages.
Is that the one where... I think I've said this to you on the show before, and you're like, I think so. Where the black guy... I want to say his name's Tyrese.
Correct.
And Paul Walker, I'm pretty sure, have a very sexually erotic fight in some dirt. Like, they physically fight each other. They're wearing these tight jeans, and they're just, like, rolling around in the dirt. And they stop fighting, but their legs are, like, scissoring one another. And they're both, like, panting, and it looks very sexual.
I don't remember, but it might be true.
Is your favorite Tokyo Drift the one that everyone said is the worst one?
I thought the worst one was number 4. Like, what everyone said, number 4 was the worst.
No, I think everyone said Tokyo Drift was.
Everyone said Tokyo Drift.
Because it's all that drifting.
Okay.
It's the only one I've seen.
Your favorite, then?
By default.
By default. Yeah. Did it teach you about family?
I don't remember it that much.
Which one's the one without Vin Diesel?
Number 2.
Oh, yeah, because he was like, no, I've got another franchise. It's called Xander Cage.
Oh, yeah, Triple X, right?
Return of Xander Cage. And then they replaced him with Ice Cube in the second one.
Because that was going to work.
Look, guys, the monkey's working.
Well, it's because Chim Chim's a good worker. The racing, just to get back to it, exciting, thrilling. My favorite race, of course, has to be the final race. It's thrilling, exciting. He breaks down, he gets back up. You know, you feel the motivation, you feel the roar of the crowd. Trixie's watching on. She's like, yes, you get Roger here. He's reacting. He's throwing shit. He's yelling, screaming. He's saying, like, use it. You get the bad guy gets revealed to be a bad racing guy, you know. This whole montage of them building the car also adds to the atmosphere. You know, John Goodman's wearing, like, a little penguin on his hand, or as Bartek would call him, penguin, which is not how you say it.
Yeah, I know. I've admitted it. It's a fusion of the Polish and English that I do.
Damn it, don't fuse them. So here's Rhys's favourite character, the one who's hitting on the chip.
I only saw him for 2 seconds.
Yeah, you got to see him for the whole sequence,
Right.
so get used to his face.
He'll be transitioning a lot of the shots.
There he is.
There he is. Oh, I've seen him before.
Yeah, he's Patrick and coupling.
I'll accept it.
the kind of downward spiral of Rhys's confidence is like, I'll accept it.
I have a lot of confidence, as a matter of fact. In fact, I have the amount of confidence in Julie Andrews, basically.
I think he's been fairly bad. Before I say what I say, let's go with this.
I'll explain my
Yeah.
reference. I have confidence in sunshine. I have confidence in
So
rain.
Rhys is a singer in his band, so you're getting a real taste of that if you want to join Iscarion.
I was going to say that Rhys is very balanced this episode because he was confident about who the black actor was.
But then he was wrong.
And he was wrong. But then he was confident about the saying, and he was right.
But he's been wrong more than he's been right, so...
But I'm saying he's balanced.
He's balanced. He's balanced.
This episode.
Not fully, though.
Not fully, of course. Well, I mean, hold on. What's
Wait.
fully balanced?
What's fully balanced?
Like 50-50?
What do I have
Yeah.
to do
Okay.
to make it fully balanced?
Well, you have to flip a coin like Two-Face, or as I called him, Catface one time.
All right, let's see if I have a coin. And I'll flip that coin. Da-da-da-da.
He's looking through his wallet.
I
Oh, Rhys, while you're in your wallet, do you happen to have a CPR card?
A what?
A CPR card.
No, but I have the following. I have a working with children's check.
I also have that.
I do too, but I don't
Can-
need to use it.
Can I look at yours? Yours is very different to mine. Oh, it explains it. Yours is a volunteer one. Mine's in it like a work one.
Mine's for free.
Yeah, I had to pay for mine because I actually work with children. So I need like the proper one.
I have teacher registration, so
Like-
I don't need one.
Yeah, he has teacher registration, so he doesn't need one. Rhys's middle name starts with a K. This children's check
Well, he's already
card
told us
number
what it is.
is 1617355A
Are you kidding me?
01. Expiry is the 8th of the 3rd, 2024. So you got to keep that in mind. The back, he hasn't even ripped off the barcode fully. He's still got a sticker. I can't even read the back of it where it says, by law, this card must be used and paid for related children work. Okay. Rhys has this, but Rhys, you didn't get a coin.
No, I didn't get a coin.
You don't have one.
I don't have a coin.
But do you have a CPR card? A DRCD?
Oh, right.
No. I
Drab
don't.
CD? Do you have a Drab CD card like Bartek does? And Bartek, when he first told us this on the podcast, he reacted like, why don't you guys have one?
Was I?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah.
That
A
doesn't sound
CPR,
right.
a CPR card.
Yeah, you know what CPR is.
Like first aid?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't.
Bartek
Yeah, it
has...
was Drab CD. But then when we looked it up, they added their letter, didn't they?
Yeah, it's like extra.
Yeah.
CPRL.
So, no.
CPRLX.
Oh, yeah, that was the big thing with this thing. It had Drab CD, but it didn't tell us what it stood for.
Yes. I had to look it up.
Yeah.
So, Drab CD...
Like danger resuscitation.
It's danger, No, I'm reading it again. No, restole it. Fucker. So what about you, Bartek? You love racing. You've played games where you race by the sound of it. You're a big...
Yeah. Rhys threw the card at
Rhys
Ryan.
threw the card apathetically, knowing I wouldn't catch it because I wasn't looking at him.
Well, I thought it was going to sit, on your arm.
On
and-
my non-flat arm, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan, you know firsthand that I've played a bit of Crash Team Racing in my time.
Yes. To give a point of reference, he has played it. There you go. To the point in which, if you ever play it with him, there's no point because Bartek has memorized every single thing in every level to the point in which there's no point playing.
To be fair,
I
I haven't played too much of the battles, and that's what we were mainly playing.
Yeah, because there's no point playing the races. Because Bartek would just be like, we had a New Year's party and everyone was playing, but it was the rules of whoever wins keeps playing, and Bartek was just sitting there all night.
I don't know why that was a rule.
Because that's what people do at parties.
There was also a thing of not many people wanted to play.
Because you kept winning.
No, even from the beginning, everyone else was doing their own thing. It was only like
because people like
three
to,
other people.
Because people like to drink.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, here's Rhys's favorite character. Nice transition. So, Bartek, your favorite race in the movie. Race scene in the movie.
Yeah, definitely the climax of this race was very tense.
But
I
what about,
enjoyed
was it the whole race though? Or do you just like climaxes? Like he is Shaft climaxing right now, actually.
Doesn't he say some like random line that doesn't really mean much at one point during a transition?
He says a lot of lines.
Yeah, in this film, I really liked, especially the races where weapons were used, and after Speed has all his like installed gadgets in his car.
But it's a bit sluggish, though, isn't it?
Mm.
Turns to the left a bit stiff.
It was in the previous one at least. I also liked when he creatively uses the jump thing, because you have a jump how you think like, oh, it's to avoid things that's coming below you or to like get over jump over something. But he uses it to, like, proper physics, like, off a wall to, like, slam into people.
Yeah, I agree. This movie really abides by the laws of physics as told by Albert Einstein.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Yeah, I know the scientist, yes.
do you know him, though?
Yes.
He was this little German guy, funny mustache, hair.
Hair, yes.
He was a patent. He worked in a patent office. Did you know that?
No.
You didn't know that?
No.
It's like one of the main facts about Albert Einstein.
He worked in a
patent office.
a
Yeah.
patent office, okay.
Where he would patent things for people. That's like one of the main facts. That, and he didn't have like a most proper school education. I think he was homeschooled.
Yeah, there was always
That why it's so smart.
there was that rumor that like he failed maths or something
Yeah.
that people spread to make themselves feel better.
But then, what's the point? Because they're wrong.
And even if he did, I mean, he later on didn't, right?
I mean, well, maybe until we disprove his theory. Then because that's how science and everything works. It's just basically until we disprove it for something else.
It's the facts.
Man, it's really crazy. Like, we all know E equals MC squared, but a lot of us don't really understand what it means.
Tell me.
I don't understand what it means, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, Rhys, you're a scientist. You've worked at a factory. Tell us what E equals MC squared means.
It means... I don't know what it means, but it makes me want to eat an apple.
An apple? That's not...
That's for teachers.
That's Newton.
Oh, that's Newton.
He's gravity guy. Apple fell on his head.
Well, it's all within the same
Wow,
field.
so do you even know who Albert Einstein is?
Yes!
Like, do you know that he didn't do gravity? You know that was like...
I know that!
Did you know that Copernicus was the guy who said the Earth wasn't flat, but then it was Columbus that actually proved it?
And
you
you know
this?
he's Polish?
And he's Polish, and then they apologized, and the church apologized to him like only recently for
So they
imprisoning
killed him, didn't he?
Oh, they imprisoned him, and he died. Yeah.
So what's his name?
Mikołaj Kopernik.
Copernic.
Or affectionately known Copernicus.
Copernicus.
I'll tell you one thing about Copernicus. We all went to the same university for the listening people, and Bartek and I did drama.
Mm-hmm.
Rhys did film.
Sometimes there was
drama.
a Copernicus story, wasn't there?
I did this monologue, and in my monologue, I said the phrase, "Hey, Copernicus, how about you navigate yourself over here?" And then we had to all give feedback, and another guest on the show, Luke, said, you need to explain how you know that person's name is Copernicus. Maybe kind of say that they have a name tag on or something. And everyone just had like their mouth agape, like, what the fuck? Like, no, it's that I just had to calmly explain. No, the whole point, Luke, is that Copernicus is this famous navigator, you see, who kind of disproved that the Earth is not flat. And that's kind of what I'm getting at. And he goes, oh, okay, but I think you still need to explain it, though, because it's not common knowledge. And I'm like, that's my reply.
Well, not a lot of people know about Copernicus.
I mean, you're wrong, but okay.
Oh, now I'm unbalanced again.
You've been unbalanced all the time. It was just Bartek put the illusion of balance.
Bartek has no illusions.
No,
Bartek has facts. The facts. Thank you for the violin noise.
Speedo is a great film.
Some people like Roger Ebert might not agree.
That's probably true because while the review is on his website, someone else reviewed it.
He was dead.
No, he was alive in 2008.
Then what's his fucking excuse? Roger, come back from the dead and explain yourself.
He clearly delegated it with his tyranny. And whoever he delegated to gave it 1.5 stars.
So, 10 out of 10, yeah?
Yeah, if you get rid of the 0.5 and you put a 0 there.
So, guys...
Oh, wait, that's 10 out of 4,
we're
actually.
nearing the climax of the movie. There's still quite a bit to go, but any little highlights that you want to bring up before the movie ends? Anything that kind of stood out? Any interesting things that you noticed or trivia points that you want to kind of bring up?
I can't remember where in the film it is, but there is a point where I think there was a part where Speed Racer is doing a pose in mid-air and the camera's kind of panning around him, and that was a reference to a part of the show in the opening credits at the very end where Speed jumps out of his car, freeze frame, and then it pans 90 degrees.
It's very interesting when it comes to that. So in the West, with our shows, we try to make our characters have catchphrases. While it seems like more Japanese and Chinese stuff want to have them more iconic poses.
Yeah, definitely, especially with like the Sentai, which the Power Rangers thing.
Yeah,
like,
and then Dragon Ball Z, you got the
Ginyu Force.
Kamea wave, that's iconic pose, and like, and this has that pose, and like, you know, Astro Boy, and like they all have they're more about poses, and we're more about like phrases,
and especially with things that are, you know,
Brendan phrases.
Especially with things
that's
like
incorrectly saying it. His name's Fraser. You're calling him like Kelsey Grammer's character from the TV show Frasier.
Yes.
How dare you? Which one time I got into a heated argument with our friend Oliver, who did not appreciate me calling him Frasier when he's like, his name's Fraser. And I'm like, that's incorrect. There's no
dear.
Z in there. But you were saying, Bartek, you like the pose.
Well, I like that they had the reference there. What I was saying was that, like, yeah, with what you were saying about poses being a big thing, there's also I don't know if we count Speed Racer as sci-fi. I think we.
I mean, this one is.
This one is, but I've also noticed that, like, in a lot of sci-fi Japanese things, like the models of the various sci-fi vehicles, like in Gundam with the giant robots, so like a lot of hardcore fans will like know the model names and things like that.
Like Transformers.
Yeah. Even with Neon Genesis Evangelion, which I've actually seen.
Is that the one that terribly ends?
Yeah, where they ran out of budget and the last 2 episodes are basically like a weird...
People standing in a circle,
People
congratulating each other.
That's the actual ending of the final episode, yeah. But before that, it was like weird like theater production monologues and stuff.
Well, that's fantastic. Rhys, what about you? Anything you want to highlight about the movie? Anything stand out? Anything tickle your fancy?
I think I'd like to leave that for my review of this film. I think it'd be rather pulsing.
Nothing worth a discussion, just bringing it up in a review, then.
Well,
just decide, like, yeah. Or we can discuss it in
Or we
your
could just
review, I
listen to
don't know.
Brian breathing.
No, that was me trying to squeal, but I got too stuck in my throat.
Did you call him Brian?
I said Ryan.
Okay.
Look, my name's not Rhys, okay?
Brian.
And it's not Brian either.
Brian and Ratek.
Brian Ratek.
It's actually Julian, but like whatever.
Hi, Julian.
And you're Brees.
Hello,
Are you King Julian?
I'm Julian Morrow, the
I
Chasers
like to
War and
move it,
everything.
move it.
You guys went for the classy Madagascar reference. I went for Chasers that reference.
He literally brought up
and
King
you
Julian.
and I also brought up Julian from Chaser, but you went with the road of Madagascar.
Well, the
Yes.
problem was he said King,
I said
so
King.
I had to.
King Julian.
So yeah,
I
you-
prefer Chasers over Madagascar.
Well, you
but-
chose your allegiance in that moment.
Well, I mean, I had to
You
go with what he said
chose,
literally.
and I said it literally too. So you chose your allegiance. Hear that, people? Bartek loves Sacha Baron Cohen's character in Madagascar.
I mean,
That's
I don't
that's
hate
wor-
him,
that's
so
worthy,
that's
so-
fine, I guess.
He's the worst one.
What?
He's the fucking worst.
How is he the worst one?
No, I'll give you a defense.
Right.
They're all the worst one, but like he is aggravatingly the worst one. Him and David Schwimmer as the giraffe. The Madagascar films fucking suck. Are you serious right now?
I've seen all 3. I love
I
them.
have too, and they all suck.
And they're all great.
When I watched,
Are you serious right now?
When I watched
Yes.
Shark Tale, I had to watch a trailer for the first one. It's been a long time since I've seen that.
I found out that Shark Tale director was also the guy who did Gulliver's Travels.
Oh, that's nice.
There you go. Yeah, Madagascar sucks in comparison to Speed Racer, which I'm pretty sure
Okay, well,
Speed
if it's in
Racer came
comparison,
out
for
the year
sure.
after, because I'm pretty sure Madagascar was 2007.
Okay. And where does the Chasers fit into this?
Yes.
Well, the Chaser dressed up as a car one time to go back into the Apex Summit after they had already gone into it the day earlier.
Oh, they disguised the car. They didn't dress up as a car.
No, they dressed up as a car, remember? Like, they came in with a cardboard version of a car that they wore the next
There was
day
something like that, yeah.
to make fun of the fact that they broke into one of the
Right.
highest security functions ever in all of Australian history.
Right, yes. That
By
is true.
pretending easily, like very obviously pretending that they were Canadian officials.
Mm.
Yeah, great
Well, no,
time.
wasn't it that they were pretending to be American, but they had a Canadian flag randomly?
No, I don't know. No, I just think that they didn't even pretend that hard. I think they just had Canadian paraphernalia, but they didn't bother to check them properly.
Because I remember they had a lot of details about, like, they had ID cards that said this is a joke, this is fake, and things.
And they didn't look at them.
Yeah.
Speed has won. Are you surprised? Did you think there was going to be like that twist where he might have lost and then he learned the lesson that winning isn't everything?
Well, definitely in the earlier parts of the film, he did lose some races, but I felt like, this is the ending. He'll win. I know he'll win. I believe in him. I was cheering, so therefore it happened.
You did cheer.
Yes.
I want to bring up another aspect of this movie, which is the visual effects. We didn't really talk about them very much.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, a lot of people negatively have a go at this movie for looking like a Robert Rodriguez movie and looking cheap and terrible. But the purpose of it's a design choice. Like, this is a very keen aesthetic that a lot of people, like Bartek has said, have grown attached to. Like, there's a cult following to this. And a part of the cult following is the aesthetic of the movie. The visual element, the visual effects, are chosen on purpose to replicate the cartoon whilst also being its own thing. Like, it isn't like the most direct of direct translations. Like, it isn't like they could have made the background literally the cartoon background, but they did it their own way, and they used their own camera moves and styles, whilst also kind of homaging and replicating the original TV show. What did you think of the visual element? Because that's the thing that has the legacy about it, is it's visually abrasive.
Definitely, like I said, I've been aware of this film for a long time without having seen it, but definitely every time I thought about it, bright lights and colours was something that came to my mind, because I guess I've seen that in shots of the film, or maybe, like video shots or still shots. I really appreciated it. I think the original show had more pale colours, whereas in this movie it was a lot more vibrant. And, we have a lot of films these days that are very dark and gloomy. Like, you brought up The Dark Knight, but that's not too dark and gloomy, but it's more in that field.
I mean, it's visually dark.
Yeah, the DC films of today, more so, would be that.
You mean the ones that look like Holocaust movies?
Yeah. I can appreciate...
Well, you laugh, but when you watch Batman v Superman, it looks like it's supposed to take place in a concentration camp, and it's like in the middle of the day. It looks like night.
Yeah. I can appreciate any film that wants to have more vibrant colours for its aesthetic. And this film, I think that it does that.
What about you, Rhys? You like a nice visual aesthetic to a movie?
Yes, I do.
What are some movies that you like that have a very stark, keen visual sensibility and aesthetic?
That's a good question.
No.
The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
That was the only thing that came to my head.
Wow, not even Sin City.
I was about to say, you guys brought it up earlier.
What about Schindler's List?
That didn't have any special effects.
No, visual
visual
aesthetics.
Visual aesthetics. I thought you said visual effects, sorry.
No, but that can come into it. I mean, there's the effect of making colours pop up within black and white, which was fairly new at the time.
You ever seen a film that made you go, wow, that film looked really, and then you fill in a word? Oh, this is your part, Ryan.
Oh yeah, this is the part you... The
Look
cooties.
at that monkey. He's laughing. He's having a good time. Uh-oh, he covered his eyes. I don't know what he was covering them from. Cooties. Yeah, I love movies with a visual flourish to them. Like, Suspiria, the original one, the Dario Argento one.
Yeah.
That movie's carried by its visuals. Like, the storyline's fucking weak and garbage, but like... and it's Italian nonsense, but visually that's a stunning movie, and that's what carries it. Or John Carpenter movies, like when you watch Big Trouble in Little China, the visuals go along so well with the energy of that movie. Like, Bartek and I watched it, and...
Oh, that had ninjas in it, didn't it?
That did. I'll take it back, Big Trouble in Little China. But I didn't know if the Chinese called their ones ninjas.
Well, ninja is the Chinese word.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
Like I said earlier, shinobi is the Japanese one. But
Kenobi, yeah.
But they use ninja mostly, so yeah. Good job, China.
Well done.
Good job, China.
Thanks, China.
Thanks, China. I know that reference.
It's a you reference, yeah.
So this movie's visuals really struck me. They really turned a chord to me. They stunned me. I can't think of a movie like this visually outside of a Robert Rodriguez movie, or this was a period of time where we were just pushing it, like Captain, what was it? There's that movie Sky Captain, The World of Tomorrow.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, same time as this though.
Okay.
It was around 2006, 2007, I want to say. And a bunch of movies that kind of push this boundary of, like, how much can we make an artificial thing? Like, and now we look at this and take it for granted. Like all these Marvel movies, none of them are really not many of them are on sets. They're just standing in a green room. Or the Hobbit movies, or anything like that. Those are just all green screen movies too.
Yeah.
But the technology has moved on so much more and so much better. But the feeling of it is, this is supposed to look artificial because that's kind of the aesthetic of the show. So stop being mean, people.
Stop it.
I guess it's a good comparison point in the sense that, like, yeah, it was a 60s show, so they were limited in their animation.
And it's Japanese, so they're always limited in their animation.
Yeah, so you could argue that, like, because they were limited, it's quote-unquote poor. So in this film, what's a way to make it look a bit, artificial, and that some people would argue poor? It's like, this is clearly CGI, or this is clearly green screened. I think that's a decent negotiation.
The Wachowskis also chose an interesting aesthetic of making the all of the credits.
Yeah, this like sparkly, flickering kind of thing.
Seizure-inducing. So, Bartek, the film has unfortunately ended. I think it's time for us to get into our reviews and ratings, and I'd love to hear from you first.
Sure. I had a great time with this film. I'm glad that the majority of a decade's worth of build-up for myself personally was worth it. It's Speed Racer. It's a weird thing for me because it's sort of randomly popped up for me a few times in my life, but it's never been something that I've been hugely into. Yet, watching this film, I somehow had nostalgia for it. I appreciated it and a lot of little things it was doing. It's just something that I've been aware of elements of for a long time. And it was nice to see it in live action. It obviously didn't have, all the same things like the fast dialogue. And I'm not familiar if the show is even one that has many story arcs or if it's just more episodic. But I enjoyed it. Definitely, it's one where the race scenes are my favorite parts. And you did say earlier, Ryan, that there were a lot of like businessy kind of things going on that maybe some people wouldn't be into, but you kind of have to have everything together to tell a full story, and I can appreciate that. I'm not really gonna deduct points from it because it has scenes that are a bit slower, but it's a visual spectacle. Its action isn't too exaggerated. Like, obviously it is because it's cars and you're using weapons and that's silly, but it's not like the whole film needed to be that. It's a film that I think everyone can appreciate, and I have to give this film a consenting young boy in the boot of a car out of a Mach 5.
Aw, that's nice.
Because it was a really big thing in the show, I remember, but in this film it was only one time.
2 times.
Was it 2 times?
Yeah, he's there when they're at the...
They were about to make out, yeah.
And then he's there to stop the gangsters from shooting them in the canyon. And the monkey throws poop at the gangster.
Right, that's right, yes.
So he does it twice. So a setup and a payoff.
Yeah.
They didn't need to abide by the rules of 3 for that particular one.
Mm-hmm.
Rhys, let's hear from you.
My review. All right, let's do it. Racing. Oh, a lot of racing. Oh, the colors, the graphics, the visual effects. Oh, the music, the editing, the transitions. Oh, the race. Gotta race. Oh, Crisis.
Go, Speed
Crisis.
Racer.
Crisis.
Go, Speed
Crisis.
Racer.
Crisis. 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 Oh, mysterious figure. Mysterious figure. Racing. Racing. More. Racing. 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 Oh. Existential crisis again. Oh my God. Oh, villain. Oh, graphics, more graphics. Oh, music. Ninjas. Oh, in the desert of the beehive. He wins.
And what would you give it?
That's a good summary. How about your review?
No, that's his review. You don't get to comment on it. That was his review. What would you give it?
An Emile Hirsch out of an Alden Ehrenreich.
I'm very glad that was the conversational piece he wanted to withdraw from us earlier. Now, me, personally, I love this movie, of course. Hashtag Speed Racer Justice, because this deserves more justice. This movie was fantastic. It was great. It was energetic. It was like if you're a small child and you discovered that if you put a whole fucking like tube of Mentos into a Coke bottle and shook it up, and then it would just like, that's the movie. Like, that discovery of chaos that you can ensue as a child. You know, like when you discovered that you could set things on fire. You know, that's this movie. It's pyromania on screen. This movie is you as a little kid hopped up on goofballs. Goofballs, everybody, goofballs, hopped up on goofballs. That's this movie. I loved it. Thank you, Wachowskis, for making a movie I like for once. Do it again. Christina Ricci said there was going to be a sequel. You said you were going to write it. Where is the sequel? It's been 10 years. You could do it. Oh, just a quote. Moonraker is the James Bond movie. Just credited it.
Oh, okay.
So I just needed to clap that. Good job, me. Good job, me. I need a sequel. I need to know what happens to Speed when he's a dad himself. Because 10 years, you could do that. What happens if he has a little kid and his name is Ticket Manager Racer? And he's like a ticket manager? I need to know
Parking
now.
Racer, yeah.
So, that's it. If I had to give it a rating, which I do, I'd have to give it a Ryan out of right. Bartek, the internet had things to say about this movie.
How'd you know?
I just had a feeling.
To be fair, I think I mentioned earlier. So
I had a feeling, a bit of an inkling. This is a show. Sorry, I don't need to sing the Leno and Woodley theme.
Yeah, you only need to sing Speed Racer.
This is a show all about me and me and all the things I do and all the things I see. Also, what I see. Bartek, hit us.
I have gathered some YouTube comments and a single IMDb review this time.
Okay.
Great.
So different from usual. The first YouTube comment is, I saw this when I was 5. This movie changed my life. I was front row and I don't think I blinked. This movie was amazing. Still have the toys for it somewhere, haha.
Aw, that's so nice.
We should rewatch this without blinking.
Like, do it like from A Clockwork Orange, where they have you in the thing with the...
Forced.
Yeah, and
Well, I think
they're dripping the thing into your eyes. Yeah.
I think they're implying that they voluntarily didn't blink, which
Well,
is
you can
more
volunteer
impressive.
for that if you want.
Well, volunteer to have a thing stopping you, I guess, but I think volunteer like self-control sense. Anyway, the next...
Like Major Pain.
Next... I almost said quest, but I meant comment.
Next quest to the comment, starring Bartek, Ryan, and Chim Chim.
And
Quest number 2, the longest comment. The trailer doesn't do it justice. There's a lot more heart to this movie than you would think. The soundtrack on this makes it look too commercial, so to speak. But after the first sequence is finished, you can really tell that this was made by people who were fond of the source material and who really cared about crafting not just a good movie, but also a unique cinematic experience. There's nothing quite like this movie out there.
I agree.
Ryan agrees.
Nothing like it.
The next comment is, this film is so underappreciated, and my whole family loves it. It's a classic that I will take to my grave!
I'll take it to your grave, buddy. I'll take it to your grave.
Cradle to the grave.
I will drag this movie to your tomb.
Anyone notice that the father has the same voice as Wreck-It Ralph?
What?
No, I didn't. I didn't know if John Goodman was Wreck-It Ralph until now.
John C. Good Riley.
Hey, we didn't talk about that scene in which John Goodman looked exactly like Mario. He looked exactly like Mario. Remember that?
To be fair, most of the film he had the moustache.
No, but there's a scene where he's wearing the overalls and the red underneath, and he looked exactly like Mario.
Oh, he just needed the hat. And the final, the final comment is in all caps and ends with 4 exclamation marks. And it's someone who's very happy about Christina Ricci. The comment is, Christina Ricci, greatest Trixie in Speed Racer 2008 film.
But that's it?
Are you sure it wasn't Rose McGowan they're talking about? Could be Rose.
I thought you meant it was her making the comment.
You're still holding on to make sure that Rose McGowan is in this film.
No, she played in the first half, definitely. And then eventually it became Christina Ricci.
Well, you are Ryan out of right.
Yeah, so there you go.
And the IMDb review is now the thing that I will read.
Are you sure? Are you sure it's now? Or then? Or will be?
Give me 5 minutes to think about it.
So definitely not now then.
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Alright, 5 minutes is up.
Okay.
Just edit that in, Ryan. The IMDb review title is A Childish Bit of Fun.
Mm-hmm.
It is from the 19th of May 2008, and it is a 7 out of 10 review. Best bit, the races. Worst bit, all the business type scenes. You might know that Speed Racer is the English adaptation of a Japanese anime called Mach Go Go Go. Or maybe you didn't. Anyway, these stories follow the life of a guy called Speed Racer. If you think that name is strange, just think that should mean that the Japanese guy is called Mach Go Go Go, which basically races with automobiles. Although that's just a guess for what happens in the series. That's the first paragraph.
And sentence by the sound of it.
Now, this film just starts straight away. Like it's trying to get rid of most of backstory ASAP. Which was fine, as it got rid of the backstory with style. The story follows with Speed played by Emile Hirsch and his family, including John Goodman as Pops and Christina Ricci as his fit girlfriend Trixie.
So this was written in the UK, okay.
He's not mentioning Mom, by the way. Who are all a part...
He doesn't have any other family, he doesn't even have a younger brother.
Who are all a part of his racing career. So it's all going fine and dandy until everyone starts to notice he's something special on the racetrack. And that means that everyone wants to have Speed on their team. So after some quite boring business talk, the best parts of the film finally start to kick in with some awesome race scenes. So with some more business stuff and then more races, the film ends with a predictable but enjoyable and nice ending. I'm going to be honest and say that there are some incredibly, unbelievably childish moments. Mainly because there's a monkey in it. But it's a children's film, so that's forgivable and my fault. You'll know when you see them.
What is the matter with this guy?
So this brings me to my next point, that this film has some proper business talking parts that I honestly think that kids will not understand one bit. The fact that they go on for a bit makes these parts extra boring. Hell, I don't know what shares are good and what shares are bad. A couple more things. There are some really random scenes and some characters which seem to have no importance. End of paragraph. As for the acting, it was all good enough. I think is the best way to put it. Most of the time, the acting consisted of facial expressions from the seat of a car or a clip with a voiceover. Also, it was good to see Matthew Fox in yet another big film as well. Lost is brilliant.
That's not a film.
That's the only thing I can really say about it. End of paragraph. Like I've said already, the best parts of this film are the races. Mainly because of the incredible special effects, the lighting and the colours are somewhat strange but brilliant. When I first saw the effects, I thought they looked too shiny and too rounded everywhere, but that's understandable as, I will say again, it's a very childish film, which for me was quite surprising from the directors of Matrix. Overall, I thought this film was enjoyable at parts, simply childish at parts, and just amazing CGI. I'm not quite sure whether to recommend this film, as people like so many different types of films these days. I can recommend it to kids. I pretty much went through boredom. To sum it up in one sentence, a childish bit of fun. Does that sound wrong? And that's the end of the review.
Oh, God.
It ends on a question, guys.
Oh,
And we'll never know the answer. We'll never know the answer to that. I'm
Never.
so sorry.
Never.
We need archaeologists from the future to decipher that message. So, thank you very much, the internet. Rhys, as always, a pleasure to have you on, even if you wouldn't stop twisting your nipples for the whole episode.
it'll be forever known.
If Jesus
I
was
always look
nipples.
forward to coming here.
Oh, it was so good guns. Pretty good guns.
Good guys.
Good guy guns. No, guys makes sense.
No, guns make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No Australian saying makes sense.
They do.
Don't fool yourself.
They do.
Like what?
Yeah, nah.
That's a New Zealand saying.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
Fuck off, you cunt. Yeah, nah. As in, yes, I understand, and the answer is no. Yeah, nah. Yeah, nah. You don't use yeah, nah. Are you fucking attribute it to New Zealand? Fuck you.
But the New
You're
Zealanders
thinking
say they
of
come...
you're thinking of bro.
Well, bro's a universal term. The South
No,
Africans
the way they
use
say the way they say bro.
brew.
Hey, bro.
So do the South Africans.
No, they say it different. I've seen Mr. Bones. Thank you, Rhys, for twisting nipples and introducing new phrases that don't exist, even if you make websites to say it does. Bartek, as always, a pleasure for having you choose Speed Racer. I can't wait for next episode where you choose it again.
We do it again. Oh
No, you're not invited.
Oh, come on.
We need a different guest. We'll get Sorab or Luke.
Well, and Ryan, because I chose like 8 films and you picked this one first to do of my 8, so thank you for picking this one.
Yes. Put the blame on me, I see.
Blame?
I mean, thanks on me.
I was thanking you, yeah. You were thanking me.
As always, listening people, you can find us on all the social medias except for Instagram, MySpace, Bebo. We're on Facebook, the Twitter, MySpace. One day.
One day. And what is our email, Ryan?
You got a good idea there, because Rhys admitted to me last time I saw him before we did this episode that he couldn't remember our email.
On the Coneheads episode, that's right.
What is our email, Bartek?
Spitandpolished
Oh, hey,
at gmail.com.
Bartek sounded different that time.
I was telepathically making Rhys say it, and he was correct.
So
I was right.
message us, contact us, give us reviews and ratings on whatever podcast platforming site is available to do so. Share us around. Go Speed Racer, go! Until next time, listening people, remember to be kind to each other.
Aw.
Shaft!
Marku, go!
Should we do the
Marku, go,
word
go.
association thing now?
Oh, one word at a time?
Yeah,
or
one
do
word.
you want to do word association?
I will do one word at a time. That's
Do you want to
better.
do word association?
No, we'll do
Speed.
racer.
Go.
Ma.
What was that?
No, the Japanese one. Go ma.
Mark. Well,
Yeah, Mark.
Mark's in both, but alright.
Okay.
Isn't it Mock? Mock 5?
Well, in Japanese, their accent, they pronounce it as Mark.
Mock 5. Okay, enough of that. One word at a time story. We always do this with Rhys, and I always
I
forget.
forgot, yeah. I had a whole thing planned. I was just going to say, Marka, go home.
Okay, I'll start. I'll start. Are
You,
Willing.
to
Mark.
Go.
speed.
Full stop.
That's one word.
I
Want.
you
to
lift
my
car
because
I
have
a
big
helmet
that
is
currently
occupying
my
car's
engine.
Full stop on that. That seems like a pretty conclusive end to that story. I think that's all we need. That is an emotional story, unlike the other stories we've done with Rhys about turtles.
and needing crisps or whatever.
And penis is jangling. That was the
That was the last one. Thank you, car helmet, big, heavy.
yes.
Engine stuck on, occupying me, head. I was really waiting for you to say dick. That's why each one I led to Bartek, I was like, say penis. Say it. That's why each time you froze, you're like, what can I work
And all the
around
phrases were on Bartek. You had to think of a new original.
all the key nouns.
All the
All the key nouns. Till key noun time, key goodbye.
Yes. Now let's muck a go-go home.